Yeah,
Yeah.
Rockefeller, we invite you to something epic, you know? Where we hustle out of a sense of hopelessness, sort of a desperation. Through that desperation, we come addicted, sort of like the fiends we accustomed to serving. Where we feel we have nothing to lose. So we offer you, well, we offer our lives. What do you bring to the table? While I'm watching every nigga watching me closely. My shit is butter for the bread, they wanna toast me. I keep my head, both of them where they supposed to be. Holes to get you sidetracked and clap from close feet. I don't sleep, I'm tired, I feel wired like codeine. These days a brother gotta admire me from 4 fiends away. My pain, which shit was quick to see. From selling cane to brains was fried to a fricassee. Can't lie, at the time it never bothered me. At the bar, getting my dog on properly. My squad and me lack of respect for authority. Laughing hard, happy to be escaping poverty. However brief, I know this game got valleys and peaks. Expectation for dips, for precipitation, we stack chips hardly. The youth I used to be, soon to see a million, no more. Big Willie, my game is grown, prefer you call me William. Illin' for revenues, grateful living like Channel 7 News. Round 7 Jews, head dead in the mic, forgetting all I ever knew. Convenient amnesia, I suggest you call my lawyer. I know the procedure. Lock my body, can't trap my mind easily. Explain why we adapt to crime. I'd rather die. Enormous that live dormant, that's how we on it. Live at the main event, I better trip them out, we on it. Presidential suites, my residential for the weekend. Confidentially speaking in code since I sent you beacon. The NXS rental, don't be fooled, my game is mental. We both out of town, dawg, what you trying to get into? Viva, Las Vegas, see ya later at the crab tables. Meet me by the one that starts a G up. This way no fraud willies present, gambling they re-up. And we can have a pleasant time sipping margaritas, yeah. Can I live? Can I live? My mind is infested with sick thoughts that circle like a Lexus. If driven wrong, it's sure to hurt you. Dual level like duplexes. And unity, my crew and me commit atrocities like we got immunity. You guessed it, manifested intangible goods. Platinum Rolexed it. We don't lease, we buy the whole car, as you should. My confederation, detonation, explode on detonation. Overload the mind of the said patient. When it boils the steam, it comes to it. We all fiends gotta do it. Even righteous minds go through this. True this, the street schoolers to spend our money foolish. Born with jewelers and watch for intruders. I stepped it up another level, meditated like a Buddhist. Recruited lieutenants with ludicrous dreams of getting cream, let's do this. It gets TDS, so I keep one eye open like CBS. You see me stressed, right? Can I live? Can I live? Can I live? Can I live? Rockefeller, y'all.
Five, four, three, 2, 1. And we are live. Welcome to the Spirit Animal Podcast. This is one of our continuing episode. Today we will have Meanmugg on live. Oh, we didn't remove this from the live stream, bro. Sorry about that technical difficulties, but we got that settled. Today we have Meanmugg from one of the known DJs here in Arizona, as well as a street promoter. This guy is a legend as well in the industry within street photography, but lots of knowledge, lots of stories and anecdotes to be told by this man. Without further ado, I will add him here on the live, and we'll go ahead and continue here with the introduction.
What up?
Brother,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clear, brother.
Word. What's popping?
What's popping, brother? Man, that was a salty introduction, man.
On my part or your part?
On my part, brother.
Yeah, it was. You got a little technical difficulties. It's all good.
Yeah, for sure, brother. Man, well,
What's
it's
up,
a pleasure
man?
to have you. Pretty good, man. Just getting settled in, getting all the stuff prepped for tonight. And yourself?
Man, it's been crazy. I literally just got. Man, I'm trying to do like 10 things at a time. I just got home. Actually, I picked up my daughter from school, and yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy day. I just got home. We had dinner and shit, and I still got a bunch of shit I gotta do tonight. So,
no rodeo break for the girl today?
what up?
No rodeo break for your daughter today?
There's a break today?
Yeah. Here in Tucson, all the kids are out because of rodeo break.
What? Nah,
Yeah.
man, there ain't no fucking rodeos out here. Don't care about no rodeos. That's tight though. Shit. I wish she probably would love that shit. But I mean, they had off Monday for President's Day or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So.
See, the kids don't get that here. So it's probably like the switch up.
Yeah. Oh, they didn't get President's Day?
They didn't get President's Day.
They get the fucking rodeo, bro. That's
2 days off. It's like here and somewhere in Wisconsin, but it's like I thought it was all over Arizona for some reason.
Oh man. Okay. Well, shit, not here. Yeah, it's just been a crazy day. It's about to rain. Is it raining down there?
Actually, it's pretty over forecast. With a little bit of clouds, but no rain. It was raining earlier this morning, but yesterday a little bit of snow up in Vail and Saguarita areas, but here in town it's pretty dry.
Yeah. Word up. Your camera looks good.
It looks good. Are you good on your end? How about my mic?
Yeah.
Does it sound good?
Yeah, everything sounds good. As long as there's no echo. Like,
yeah.
How do I get the link to the live? Can you text that to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I could like text it to some people?
Absolutely, bro.
I mean, I guess they could play it back, but you know.
Let me send that to you. Yeah, bro. Well, I wanted to give off a soft story off of how we met. We haven't actually met face to face, but there was this kind of a supposed call that we were supposed to get on. But I eventually reached out to him and wanted to get more of a knowing of who he was. He had told me that he didn't really know what we were going to talk about. He just wanted to hop on a call. You had mentioned something about a reel or who has done my reels. I let him know that, I do most of my real work. Photography comes from me, sometimes from my audience, sometimes from, whoever is recording. I just like to mash it up. But that's initially how we got into connection,
True. Very true. Yeah, man, it's cool to see that you do a little bit of everything. You got to stay diverse and well-versed in everything, not just one thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Staying well-versed comes with evolution, as you can see. Like the podcast, little by little, it's been progressing. One month we have, more mics, or we have lighting, or it's just part of the process.
Hell yeah.
Brother, did you have anything to add in regards to how our meeting or any information you wanted to share today?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah, technically, I actually watched a couple of your shows, and they're pretty good. They're really long, 3 hours. So I was like, yo, that's crazy. Once you get into it, it's more of it's a flow, right?
Yeah.
So you never know how long it's gonna go. Recently I did a couple other podcasts. The last one I did was for Give Me Five, or Just Give Me Five, with Dave Miranda, and I was so much shit, bro. Like I missed a lot of bigger accolades, I guess, when I was just kind of telling the story versus probably what I should have like big up to myself on. And I'm sometimes very humble at that, yeah, at like saying what I probably should say as far as like, what I was doing and who I was working for and like all the bigger accolades. But yeah, there was a lot missed out. So it was like it kind of sucked because I'm like, yo, I forgot to say this, I forgot to say that, I forgot to big up these fools, you know what I mean? So um but yeah, like when you said that you had a podcast and you're just kind of starting out and you're trying to get it popping, and you asked me to be on, I was like, cool, like, why not? As far
That's
as like,
appreciated.
yeah, we've never met before, so I'm just kind of like winging it at this point. So, but I mean, now we met, kind of,
Kind of. We
kind of.
still have a medium to establish.
Yeah, exactly,
Come and have some Cuban food down here in Tucson.
dude. Them Cuban sandwiches, what are they called? With it's like all pork. It says like everything in it. Um,
Sandwich cubano.
it's just it's like the
Planchado.
normal. It's like the most famous like pork like Cuban sandwich, right?
Yeah, it's literally
What the fuck
just
is it called?
mozz. It, I just know it planchado.
Oh, I guess that's what it's called. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the actual name for it. I just know it's a bomb ass sandwich. That's it.
Bro, they have some plates like with yuca and carnitas. I don't really eat meat much anymore. Well, I haven't for the past years. I still eat shrimp and some other of the shellfish, but that stuff is bomb. It's the carnitas and the yuca root
Uh
with
huh.
the chips or whatever it is that they have. But sometimes they have the plantain chips and with the yuca. Man, that's bomb.
Yeah. Shit. I just had actually some really good Colombian food today. I mean, I don't know all the names of it, but yo, it was wild. I was really very much impressed. Damn, what was her name? Uh, oh man, what the fuck was her name? It was at Joe Bot downtown Phoenix. Um, let me see. It's uh Arepa.
Arepas.
Arepa. Um, but yeah, dude, it was fucking amazing. She said like, "Yo, this is like my family tradition, like family recipe. Like it was like a lasagna, and it had plantain, like very marinated, like just ground beef, I guess, and cheese, and then like layered, and then she put an egg on top." And like some other shit was in there, but and then she had like this lemon or lime, kind of like a homemade sour cream on the bottom of it, and then like a salad. Oh man, it was fire! It was so good. And last time I went, they had like a really bomb chorizo with like kind of like a like little mini pupusas. They're
Mm.
called something different in Colombia. But they're like mini pupusas with like cheese inside of them, and then like an egg, and that shit was so good, bro. And then like her salsa was like crazy sweet and sour and savory. It was so bomb. I'm definitely gonna go back again, like within this week, and I would imagine it was that good. So, but yeah, and then like I just went and got pho with my daughter right now. At
Mm.
like one of our favorite Vietnamese spots out here, downtown. So yeah, I'm feeling good, feeling great, nice and full.
Full belly, man, as long as it's good. Brother, to get started, I wanted to ask you in regards to your routine, do you have a routine on a daily or do you just go with the flow?
Um, so that's such a, I mean, that's a good question, right? So at the beginning of every week, I kind of get crazy, right? And I make like a list, right? Um, like throughout the week is like a planner. It's just bright. You can't see it.
Right as fuck, yeah. Right there we can
Yeah.
see it. Yeah.
Like this is this week, right? This is just like the to dos, like everything that I gotta do. And then this is like last week, and then like shit gets added to it, and then I kind of doodle of like shit that I'm working on, and let's kind of keep going, right? Um, so I always do that like at the very beginning of the week, like on Monday, because my Mondays are kind of slow. Um, But then as the week progresses, like it's just a list, and things get added to the list, and obviously things have to get knocked out. So I just cross it out as it goes. Um, but my daily routine is like if I'm not up late, which a lot of times I am, like I have like 50-50 with my daughter's mom. And so I have her like half of the week. So like I take her to school half of the week. So I have to wake up like at 6 a.m. like Thursdays, Fridays, sometimes Wednesdays, and then sometimes Saturdays, depending on what's going on. But like so those days I have to wake up like 6 a.m. So I try to go to bed like at least by 2, which is fucking crazy. And then on other days I stay up late. I stay up to like 4 or 5 in the morning and then wake up at like at 10. My sleep schedule is terrible. But it is what it is. It works. And then most of the time I try to wake up and make breakfast like right away. And smoke like a joint or something to kind of ease my mind, relax. After I get done making breakfast, I try to eat a healthy breakfast if it's possible. But after that, I take some fucking vitamins and drink a lot of water, and that's really been recent. Like I just been trying to like pay more attention to that. And it gives me more energy too by doing that every day. But then I just try to knock out whatever I have to on the list, and some things are a little bit more time consuming than others. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like my daily routine is that like just work, 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 and then if I get start to get like kind of burnt out or tired or like creativity is like low, I get up, like look outside, go wash the dishes, do something. And if I have to leave the house, it tends to help too. Like if I have to go to any meetings and stuff like that to help like just kind of take a brain breather is kind of what I call it. To where I can come back and just kind of like refocus and hone in on what I need to work on. But yeah, like I'm different, man. Like depending on what I'm doing, like if I feel like I need like real inspiration, I'll watch a movie or I'll listen to music, and I mean, and like that's like crazy. Like I'll watch crazy shit. Listen to shit that you probably wouldn't think I'd listen to. But yeah, it's weird
What do you
shit.
listen to, man? What's that weird shit?
Well, not weird, but like, uh, it just depends. Like today, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was telling me about, um, like she likes to listen to the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, right? And I was like, okay, and like, yeah, I was just listening to the Yeah Yeah Yeahs probably a couple weeks ago. I showed my daughter, them or her, Karen O, and and then she's like, oh, do you remember the Ting Tings? And I was like, yo, like, oh shit, like I haven't played that like the Ting Ting song since like 2008, 2006. I haven't heard that shit. Like it was she had like the group. It's like one girl, but like it's a group, and they had about 5 or 6 really hot jams that were really dope. Like when like electro was popping and like EDM first started popping, and like it was like that mix between EDM, electro, and like indie rock, right?
Mhm.
Um, so I listened to that today. And then when I get in the car, I listen to like there's like this whole new resurgence of like oldies, right? Uh, and like Chicano Batman, kind of kicked it off, and Duran Jones, right? And like Mayor Hawthorne, people like that kind of kicked it off and was trying to keep it, but it's technically new oldies. Like it's kind of weird to say that, but that's pretty much what it is. But then like I've been really into uh Bobby Orzo, the Sacred Souls, which I'm excited. I got tickets to see the Sacred Souls coming up in the next couple of weeks at the Van Buren, and like I'm like I love that shit. Like I know every song, like I listen to it like religiously. Um I think that, like El Michael's Affair, Bad Bad Not Good, um which kind of takes it to like another level. Flying Lotus and like DJ Shadow. Just depends on like the mood, man. Like if I'm just trying to relax and chill, But then like I leave it on Spotify, so like once I put an artist in, I just kind of let it play. I don't really like be too picky about it, and I just see what comes out. I even listened to like the fucking the SZA album like probably 3 times. You know what I mean? Because it was really good, but then it started throwing me like a whole bunch of other joints, like a lot of like new shit, like Steve Lacy and like dude, like like Frank Ocean. Like I could listen to Frank Ocean all fucking day. I could listen to that Steve Lacy all day. Like it's just like that's just a vibe for me. I love like just being relaxed, so not too crazy, not too hood, not too fucking hard. I just like to relax, especially when I'm working. So yeah, that's what I listen to. But now when I go play, if I go play, like so that's a whole different story because you have to play to the crowd and what they want to hear. And unfortunately, I can't play what I want to hear. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean that's what kind of makes you as your persona or you as the DJ. You have the right to play what you want to play, and if people agree, well, they agree to an extent. You could say,
Yeah, not really, bro. I wish that was true. And I think a lot of DJs wish that was true. It's funny because I was just having a talk with my friend yesterday. I was in a meeting, and we had like a little break, and we're doing okay. So we're doing a Bad Bunny party, right?
I knew you were gonna say Bad Bunny.
And literally, it's Bad Bunny's birthday, right? And like I just finished I just literally put the ad out today, and so it's gonna be wild, right? So the whole concept of like the first like preview of the flyer or the marketing of it is just the phone in the hand that says play Bad Bunny to the DJ. So but Bad Bunny's real name is Benito, and so it's like Benito's birthday block party, right? And like it's gonna be fucking off the chain, right? But me and him were talking, and he was like, "Yo, this sucks," and I'm like, "I know," but I think things are gonna change because like every DJ, like no matter who you are, even if you play predominantly Latin music, right, or reggaeton or mambaton or whatever, right, like you get annoyed by hearing the requests every 5 minutes. And I get like by all means as a DJ, I want to make sure my crowd is happy no matter where I'm at, right? And I play to the crowd and I play off the energy, which a lot of DJs do as well. But when you have like somebody coming up every 5 minutes asking you for the same shit, it gets really redundant and you start to get like very irritated. And you got to try to act nice. You got to be nice. You like, you're there to please the people technically. And so like a lot of DJs are just fed up, over that shit. And they're like real salty and, mad about it, but
I mean, I can imagine it's like the era from like back in the day when they always requested Casey and JoJo and Genuine. It's kind of like the same feel.
Sure, and I mean, then there wasn't a lot of music. Now it's like there's so much music, right? Like you could request anything. Like you really want to hear Bad Bunny, like you listen to Bad Bunny on the way over here in the fucking car. Like, do you really want to hear it again? Like, yes, you know what I mean. I want to hear it 10 times, and like, which is cool because Bad Bunny does have a lot of songs, right? And if it's not Bad Bunny, it's like Maluma or fucking J Balvin or, shit like that, which is cool when you get to change it up. But most of the time, 98% of the time, it's Bad Bunny, which I don't hate on Bad Bunny. I love his music personally. I don't understand Spanish fully. I do understand some of it. So I like the groove more than anything. Like the vibe of it is really dope. And he's very versatile, which is dope too. And so I look at all the aspects. Even though I can't really understand fucking 60% of it, I still like it. You know what I mean? Like I'm still a fucking huge fan, right? Yeah. So, and visually, man, like whatever he picks, like for his visuals or his team, as far as the design, the way that he first came out, he always does something different, and it's different than everybody else. Like it's easy to fucking throw an album cover together with a picture on the front and throw some text on it and put it out. but like everything that he puts out is well thought out and it's really well designed. You know what I mean? So I gotta appreciate that shit. But yeah, I was having the talk, right? And I was like, yo, dude, I think personally in the next year, even with the younger kids that are like crazy about Bad Bunny and shit, I think music is gonna change. And I think it's gonna go back to like more of an underground feel where it's like remixes and like who's up and coming versus who's popular, and about like the scarcity and the rarity of like, yo, who made this, who made that, like, oh, I found out about this before you found out about it type shit. And then the music is gonna get different. I think like one of the big things is like right now Little Uzi Vert has a song called "This Is Why I'm Hot" or whatever, something like that, something hot, right? What the fuck is it called? But it's fast. It's like Juke. I think it's Juke, which is Philly or Chicago Juke. But it's really fucking fast. And then the song that's popular by that new Ice Spice or whatever, right? She has a song that's it's hood, it's gully, you know what I mean? Like it's New York for sure, but like the beat is like a K-pop song. Like it's like a K-pop beat and it's fast. So like she could have went and did like the whole Cardi B, Nicki Minaj like style, but this is definitely like real poppy and it's a vibe. Like it's faster, so it's not just like slow like trappy hood shit. Which is always there's a vibe for that too. But like I think that music is gonna start changing to that format where it's just like you have to impress me versus like it's just the same shit over and over again. You know what I mean? Even when it comes to like reggaeton or any of that shit, because I mean, look at Bad Bunny. Like he's made house songs, he's made he's made trap songs, he's made a whole bunch of different types of songs. So like everybody knows you have to like go with the phase, like what's popular, what's cracking, and that's how you keep it moving. You know what I mean? And stay relevant because like it's easy for you to like start making like trap again and trap's not relevant and fall off. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's a trip, man.
But yeah.
That opens eyes as well, man, because we always want to stick to the old ways. So as being a DJ, you feel like you're always being creative. You're changing up your mood.
I mean, as an old motherfucker too, bro.
Well, man, you got like, a lot of experience under that belt too.
But it's hard, man, because like I talk to a lot of people, that I grew up with or my age, around my age, and they're like, "Fuck that! Like I don't fuck with any of that shit." And I'm like, bro, like, but that's how, like, our parents and like the people that were older than us felt like when we were younger. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to stay relevant, and it's really fucking hard, man, for like older people or people like my OGs, right? Like people that are older than me, for them to even stay relevant. And like, dude, that's a whole nother story, right? Because I talk to a lot of different artists on a constant basis, whether photographer, videographer, cinematographers, toy designers, comic book designers, movie like 3D artists, you know what I mean? Like just anything and everything, right? I'm in like this like network of kind of like an underground network of a whole bunch of really, really good artists, and talking to everybody, people are different ages. Some people are 20, 25, 30. But there's a couple old heads, like for instance, like Frank Kozik, right? Frank is fucking amazing artist, but he's 60 fucking 5 years old. You know what I mean?
Holy
like
shit.
He's old. But he's also like the CFO of Kid Robot, which is probably one of the bigger like custom toy brands in the world, right? And even as old as he is and as like stubborn as he is, he gets how to pivot. And like that is the most important, I think, to anybody and to everybody, whether you're old or young. Like you have to learn how to pivot and be able to be open to like new shit or different shit. And like when NFTs came out or like digital art came out and like AI came out, like any of this stuff, when it came out, people were like, nah, it's gonna fuck everything up. Um, and a lot of people were like, "No, I'm not touching it. I'm not going to do it." But the other people that are like that are pivoters, I guess you should say, they they did it, even though they didn't like it. Maybe they don't agree with it, but they wanted to try it out, so they knew what they were working with and what other people were going to be doing and learning it and either utilizing it or not. But at least they know it. You know what I mean? And that's very fucking important. And I mean, like, I think as growing up, like I learned a lot of that from like a mentor. And it's crazy because even to this day, like I got a call from him today, and like it's just like it's like the shit that he does is just like, dude, you're how old are you? Like, how long you been doing this shit? Like, so I've been working for MC Magic since I was 17, I think.
Holy shit.
And that's what sucks, because in that other interview, I talked about how I started doing design, and the guy that taught me how to do design and kind of showed me pointers when I first started. His name was Fufi, or Raymond Nunez, and he did the first album cover for MC Magic, which was Lost in Love, and then he did the first MB Riders Nasty Boy Click fucking album cover as well. And then he kind of fell off. Magic pivoted a little bit, and then they changed labels, and then randomly he hit me up, and ever since then I've designed every album cover, all of his logos, all of his merch, everything, man. Recently he's been doing a lot of his own stuff or hiring other people to do flyers and videos and stuff like that, knowing that like in a pinch, like recently, like his designer was too busy or he had too much shit going on, and he would hit me up because he knew I would get it done fast and it would be done right, and he wouldn't have to go back and forth with it. But so I've done, like, just recently I just did a flyer for Stevie B, Ashanti, Baby Bash, Little Rob, MC Magic, and J Rocks, right? And then I'm doing another one, like I just got hit today with Baby Bash, Little Rob, and MC Magic. So and these are all in different states. So to rewind it, I think probably one of my biggest influences is you could look at MC Magic. A lot of people hate on that dude. You know what I mean? Like, oh, bro, like, you know, that shit is whack, or it's shitty music, or it's not for me, or whatever. Like, my nana likes it, my fucking, you know, only my cousin likes it, or whatever. The fact of the matter is, that dude has always been killing it, bro. Like,
it's that consistency, the jealousy, bro.
It's the consistency and the pivoting, bro. Like, I swear, like, anytime there was anything that would happen or something would change, he would be all over it. And he would be right there with, like, the younger kids, like, yo, I'm doing that too. And, like, during the pandemic, for instance, he didn't know what to do. So, like, I was streaming from Cobra, so we could stay relevant because, like, we weren't doing anything. So, like, we started streaming at Cobra, and I would have the DJs come in, and which was that's a different story too. It was really cool. It was definitely a really cool experience. Like, to kind of summarize it, was during the pandemic we opened up the bar. Literally on the dance floor, we set up a green screen. I had my boy Tommy come in. He had his computer. I had my shit. I ended up ordering some equipment. I had a lot of equipment, and we set up shop, man. And every night we streamed on Twitch, and nobody, I mean, that was like lockdown, bro. Like, you could get in trouble, like, driving there type shit. And it was also during the riots, which was pretty fucking intense and surreal, because they were, like, rioting out front while we were streaming. And somebody, like, busted the windows out, and, like, we had security inside with like full body armor and fucking shotguns and ARs. Like, it was a wild fucking night. But yeah, it was cool because, like, you know, the owner of Cobra is, like, one of my best friends, and I've been there since day one. And, like, I was like, what can we do? Like, we're not working, We're not open. We don't know when we're gonna open. Um, so I said like, yo, let's stream, and like all these DJs are sitting at home like antsy as fuck. They miss the crowds, they miss just going out. So I actually invited DJs from all around the city that would normally not be able to play because they were working, right? So like a lot of Scottsdale DJs, Tempe DJs, Phoenix DJs that are bigger DJs that normally would be working on a Friday night or Saturday night, but because nobody was working, like it's like, yo, pull up, like be a guest. So we had different guests every week, which was dope, man. Like we definitely got a lot of recognition off of it. I think we made a little bit of money because subscriptions and shit. So it was a little bit of income coming in, I guess, being on fucking unemployment and just sitting in a club that was completely closed down. But Magic wanted to do the same thing, and he actually came to Cobra with his wife one night, like out like downtown, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna come by. I want to check out what you have, how you have everything set up." So he showed up. He'd seen it. Was like, "I need you to set this up at my house." And so he bought all the equipment like within like 2 days on fucking Amazon. Went over to the house and hooked everything up so he could stream on like all platforms. And I was over there and produced and set up his whole show for a couple weeks until he kind of got it. And that's the type of person he is too. He's like, show me how to do it, and once I learn it, like I don't need you anymore, but I'll pay you good to show me how to fucking do it. You know what I mean? And he like by all means, like dude has always took care of me. At this point, like that's like family to me. Like I talk to his wife, I talk to his sons all the time as well. They're also very fucking amazing artists. But the thing is like he's always pivoted. So even after that, like he started touring, and then like he was like, yo, why am I letting these promoters take money from me? So he's like, I'm gonna make my own promotion company, and I'm gonna book the artists, and I'm gonna pay them, and I'm gonna book the fucking venue, and ain't nobody gonna middleman me at all. So he started selling out shows. Like, so now he sells out these shows where he has like Little Rob and Baby Bash and Brenton Woods and like whoever else he can get involved and bring them in. You know what I mean? And like sells fucking shows out in all kind of weird like little counties. You know what I mean? In LA, in New Mexico, and Phoenix, like really Southwest, obviously. But I mean, dude, he probably does 4 or 5 shows a month at this point. Then he started making makeup, which everybody was like, why the fuck you making makeup, bro? You tripping. You know what I mean? And then he showed me the numbers at the end of the year last year, and you know what I mean? Like he's selling out, like pallets of makeup, and like, and people fuck with it. And then he made like backpacks and little boom boxes with his name and shit on it. Like, so he just gets these things where like, oh, this is a good idea. I think it'll look good. Let me see what it's gonna look like. He'll pay the money. Don't question it. And if he likes it and if he's feeling it, he throws it by a couple people. They say yes. And I mean, like the couple people are like his sons and his wife and his manager. And if they're all like, yeah, that's a good idea, he fucking does it. He runs it. He'll put an order through for 1,000 pieces and make sure that they get sold. You know what I mean? And like, it's
That's
wild,
awesome.
bro.
That's a hustle.
It's fucking crazy. Like out of all the people like in the industry, definitely, especially from Arizona, nobody hands down can fuck with him. I don't care what anybody says. Like from as far as business, merch, shows, records sold, everything all together.
Solid, man.
Solid, bro. But he's a hustler, and like a lot of people could learn from that dude. You know what I mean? Like especially when it comes to like music and merchandising or even promoting now, because like he's doing his own shows and he's fucking selling them out. So yeah, and it's wild because, dude, you would think that these shows are like cheap, but like they're just as much as like any other big show that you're gonna go to, and like they're not like $40, $30 tickets. They're $60 and $80 tickets. You know what I mean? To like go to some theater and watch MC Magic and Baby Bash and all these people play, which is dope, but it's good money in that shit, and there's no middleman. So
that's the hustle, man.
Yeah.
It's usually a stubborn person that gets into that place, and that stubbornness is what takes us there.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think he's very stubborn, right?
Mhm.
More than anything, because he's like, I'm gonna learn this shit. I'm gonna do this shit. I don't give a fuck. You can't tell me nothing. You can tell me that I'm too old. You can tell me that I'm not. That's not my lane. It's not my. I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm gonna fucking do it. You know what I mean? And he don't listen. And he does his own thing. Even me, like I've been like, yo, this shit kind of sucks. You know what I mean? And he'll be like, fuck you. Like watch, bro. You know, and all right, and sure enough, boom, pop. You know what I mean? So, like, I mean, even with the fucking with the makeup, when he first put his first palette out, I was like, bro, what are you doing, bro? You selling makeup, bro? You know what I mean?
Let's
He's
get
like,
him into snakes, bro.
he's like, look at these numbers, bro. And then I couldn't say shit. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Let's get him
But
into some snakes.
yeah, so what's up with the snakes, man? Like, how long you been doing that for?
So it started in 2019, or our business established in 2019. The business, or the whole like scheme of what we started, was probably 2018, ends of 2018. I used to work at PetSmart. I've always been around other animals when I was younger, and it was just like a fond of animals. I used to sell wrought iron when I was a kid, and I was a little fat kid just rolling around with my grandpa who didn't know how to speak English. So I would translate to his deals, pitching $15,000-$30,000 deals on security windows or security systems.
Nice.
So these people didn't have a way to pay me. And usually they were farm workers, or they were people who were working for the city who had some type of breeding projects. And they would give me goats. They would give me dogs, any type of bird you can think of. I always had animals, but snakes just had some type of different click with me. And when I started with them, I was going through some type of like dark moment in my life, man. I had just gotten out of jail, and I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and start doing this for the good. So I started doing more research and seeing what breeding's about. I started purchasing animals on Craigslist, flipping them back and forth. So if, let's say, there was monitors that were sick, I would rehabilitate them, get them to a good state, sell it to a good person, and go on to the next animal. But after that, it was like, what can I do to hustle or make a bigger buck for my animals? Because I saw animals that were just insane that I wanted to have too, and it takes certain people to know, or a certain amount of money in order to purchase these animals. And you can't just, go down to Walmart and pick it up.
Right.
You can go to a reptile store, and find these animals, but it's really hard to find certain species or morphs or different trades. It's just almost like video game trades or like Comic-Con type of thing, where
Sure.
like you go into these different types of books and they have different types of quantity of value. And it's almost like we're puppy mills to a sense, right? But in a sense, we're doing it ethically, where we're caring for the animal and putting them in certain systems and, growing them up to a certain level. Where a puppy mill, just keeps them in small cages and, restricted from life. So that's
Right.
kind of like the base difference. But yeah, man, I established in 2019. We started doing photography later on. I got into Cobra. I hit up Richard here downtown. From there, I told him, can I bring some snakes? It was for a safari night. I knew a guy who worked at a certain club there in the same Congress Street. So we met up, and him and me, Chris Carr, and Dominic Valdenegro, and we were talking about having some type of setting at a bar, either like at a Cobra or High Wire or some other bar. And
Right.
when Walter's the Don, put out the safari night, I hit up Richard and I said, hey, is it cool if I bring some snakes? There is no ARS law that says that you can't display any type of amphibian or reptile to the public, other if it's a mammal. So if you do have like chinchillas or some type of rodent, you do have to have a permit for display because of disease, and it can be transferable. But we went in just on a limb. I took in my box. There was no charge, no nothing, and I showed it to the public, and it was a hit, I guess. And we started doing other events like Zima. When we did Zima, Ariana Luna from the owner La Bella Boutique in Reptuck. She started doing this event called Sunday Snake and Sip, and I
Yeah.
hit her up and I was like, "Hey, can we bring in some snakes?" And then every month after, we've been doing that. But that's what kind of put us in the scene, man. Just putting our head out, you know.
Yeah, I really never thought about that, right? Like to a certain extent, like it's kind of like you renting. Like we recently actually, believe it or not, normally we just did it for the exposure and like the promotion of the brand, but um a lot of people will ask us to bring arcade games to festivals and shit. And it's a lot of work, man. Like the owner Adi normally does it 90% of the time, 98% of the time he does it himself. And he'll have to rent a box truck, bring a couple people with him. They bring like 10, 15 games, set it up in a booth, put a banner up that, like to represent Cobra and shit. And then, I got to stay there for a day or two and then fucking go pick them up. Um, but recently we just said, yo, we got to start charging for this shit. It's too much work. It costs too much money out of our pocket to like, rent a big ass fucking box truck and do all the shit. And plus, he's like, yo, I'm fucking tired, bro. I'm old. I've been doing this shit for way too long. Like, I need to hire just a crew. Like, how much is going to cost me to pay my guys and just have them do it, and just oversee it. And I'm like, yo, let's do it, So we actually have like 3 or 4, maybe 5, already booked out for this year, which is dope. But like that type of shit, like eventually you start building a name for yourself, then people could pay to have you come out. And I think for the Safieta thing, um, when Walter told me about that, I was like, yo, that's a fucking amazing idea. And it worked perfectly because I believe personally, and as much as we try to do it with Cobra, is like theme nights are always way better. It attracts more people, and when you do a night like that, you want to try to make it like a circus, and not, I don't mean like a literal circus, but like I use that term because you want it to be crazy, right? You want people to like be able to take pictures and be mind blown like everywhere they look, right? Whether it's confetti flying out the sky or lasers or snakes, right? And so that's why when we came up with the idea for Safieta, Walter was like, I can go buy some fake plants, and decorate and get some balloons and shit. And I was like, well, go to the surplus store, and they have like these big ass nets that you can get to like camouflage a truck or whatever and throw it over. You know what I mean? And I was like, hang that shit on the ceiling and like so it feels like a fucking jungle in there. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna go. So and then he was like, oh, I'm gonna get some stuff to give away too, and like all that shit. When people come in, it's something that is an extra additive to just the party scene, right?
The
And then
ambience.
having you come in, like, with just it made sense. You know what I mean? It made tons of sense. So, and plus, people love snakes, man. Like, as much as they're like scared of them and freaked out, like people love it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, I'll hold it. Oh, I'll touch it. So
It's always the buff boyfriends, bro, that they're scared of it, and the girlfriends are all chill, holding the
yeah,
snake. But the big tough guy is like, "No, man,
no, bro.
I wouldn't be able to do that, bro."
Nah, yeah. I mean, but yeah, I think for you, like, it's a huge opportunity, right?
It is,
And
bro.
then
It's a lots of
eventually,
exposure. We appreciate it.
I mean, also too, like, eventually, I think it's so weird because during the pandemic, people got into like a lot of weird shit, right?
Mhm.
Like all these people that are into plants now, me being one of them. I bought a whole bunch of fucking plants during the pandemic, and like, oh, I could take care of this shit. You know what I mean? Whatever. Um, but a lot of people started buying like weird pets, and started taking on like hobbies like painting or drawing or whatever. A lot of different things, singing, whatever, producing music. Oh, I'm gonna start producing music again. Like you had that break to like kind of like it was a fucked up time, man. I think it like, scared a lot of people. A lot of people still haven't fucking left the house, believe it or not. Or they still rarely do. It fucked a lot of people up. But I think one of the big things out here. I don't know if it's in Tucson. I'm pretty sure they have some shit in Tucson. There's like these exotic drink and snack stores where you can go and you can buy like weird fucking chips and sodas from like all around the world.
There's a guy here in town who does it called Bizarre Bites. I think we want to
Right.
get him on the podcast eventually, but he does that as well. Like he does the exotic snacks, exotic drinks, the Kit Kat candies. Yeah,
So-
it's pretty dope stuff.
Believe it or not, that shit's already existed for a really long time. Anybody can get that shit.
Yep.
But the fact that during the pandemic and a little bit before, I guess, but mainly during the pandemic, people wanted rare shit. They wanted to order rare shit. And a lot of there's a company out here called Desert Drinks. And they have a full on store and like every type of soda, every type of Red Bull. I mean, like Cost Plus. Do you guys have Cost Plus out there?
We have a Costco. Yeah, it used to be
No, Cost Plus.
No, we don't.
No?
We have Restaurant Depot, no Cost Plus. We have
Yeah,
Sam's
Cost
Club.
Plus is like an import store. Like they just import shit. Do you guys have any like
Well,
Japanese markets
Yeah,
there?
yeah, we do have a Cost Plus. Actually, yeah, we do.
Yeah,
You
I would
mentioned it.
imagine because I think they even have
Yeah.
one in Prescott. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so like Cost Plus is technically probably one of the first ones, and then any of the Asian markets, they always carry like like Japanese candy and like crazy shit. But like these dudes like are getting shit from like Russia and like Bulgaria and fucking like the Philippines and like just weird spots that you can't get shit from. Germany, the UK. The point is that because it's exotic, people started like really fucking with it, and they'll spend $20 on a soda in a heartbeat just because they want to try it. And
Yeah.
I'm victim
Of
100%
it.
of that. Yeah, me and my daughter like yo, you want to go? Yeah, like, all right, like fuck, and I'm like, yo, chill, like you grabbing too much shit, like everything is like $10, you know what I mean? But and you're like, normally you would go to Circle K and get a whole bunch of snacks, some chips, some sodas, and some drink or like some candy, and it was like $10. Like I walk out of that spot, $80, $100, and you're like, what do we get? You know what I mean? Like, candy? Like this doesn't even make any sense. But I think with that, like there was a lot of pet stores and there was a lot of pet stores, obviously PetSmart, right? And even PetSmart started falling off, and then they knew that they had to like do something to like start getting more reptiles, more fish, shit like that. But nothing is exotic. There's only like I think there's a couple, maybe 2 exotic actual maybe more, I would imagine. Like exotic reptile spots here in Phoenix. I don't know how many are there, but even then there's certain
CNB.
things.
CNB is a big one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I know that when I look at them, I've probably seen a couple, and I've actually was like, oh, should I buy one? Like, I wanted to get like a dart frog or something for the house, and like some kind of frog, like in a terrarium. You know what I mean? And build like
Yeah.
a terrarium out, and so I started looking around and like, yo, I want fucking something rare. And so I just started looking and looking and looking, but like you start to see like motherfuckers are charging $200-$300 for a fucking frog, bro. You know what I mean? A blue frog. And it's interesting, bro, because at the end of the day, like I know that there's more people like me that are like, oh, I want to get a frog, and like the houseplant shit goes hand in hand with like what's the next after you bought a whole bunch of houseplants. Like, oh, I should buy a terrarium, and then what can I do with the terrarium? Well, I'll get a frog, or I get a lizard, or get a snake.
See, like here in town, like I think they're like $75, from $50 to $75. But if you're getting them like from like a detailed breeder, or let's say you're just getting some type of breeder in, and that breeder has some line, or it's like a thing is special on the frog, something is missing or something is added to it. It can vary up to $150, $250, $350. And then we put on top. So if we're purchasing, we're adding another 150 more. So some of these breeders here in town are charging, what we call retail price, $300.
Right.
Now it's like $1,000, $1,200. here in city prices, you know? So it's like, that's how we make our bang for buck. But at the same time, you know, if you have the ability to work with a particular good breeder that works with you here in town and then give you the city prices, or they give you regular price, then that's awesome. Because I have breeders that sell me snakes for 60 pop, you know, 120 a pop. And then I flip it or double or to triple it sometimes. But that's how we make our money, man.
Well, now I know where I can get my frog.
Yeah, man. I could get you a trio from, you know, 150 to $300, depending on what you want.
You know what was dope? What was it? It was like there was one that looked like a devil, and then there was one that it was called like a Pikachu frog, and it was yellow with like red eyes. That motherfucker was crazy, bro. Like,
let me see if I can
probably the coolest shit I've ever seen. Yeah, it was like a Pikachu frog, like a dart frog, I think. But yeah, during the pandemic, a lot of people got like plants, and then it turned into like, okay, I got a fig tree and I got an Estera or what all this shit, right? And like the normal like vines and stuff for your house. And then it was
it
like,
something like that, bro? You see it from there?
Yeah. But it was
That's
all yellow, like bright
yellow?
yellow. Like fucking Pikachu, bro. It looked like a little Pikachu frog, bro. Like for real. I think the place was in Mesa. It was like a reptile spot in Mesa. It was like a warehouse or like a big, really big spot.
We honestly have so many, bro. There's another one in there. We have so many reptile spots here in Arizona.
Oh yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, bro.
But
I recommend. Go ahead, bro.
No, what I was gonna say is, what got weird, and even my baby mom, she got into it. She still does it, where she starts to propagate like rare plants, and they she like, I guess they have like on Facebook they have auctions where like they'll make cuts of the plants and then they'll sell them online. And she's like made hundreds and hundreds of dollars off of just cloning a plant and then selling the fucking the cuts. And I think it's the same thing. Like, people want that rare shit. Like, oh, you got that? Okay, well, I've been wanting to get one of those. How can I get a cut of that? And so it makes it so people can make some money on it. Number one. And number two, people always like the rare shit. It's like a given, like rare shoes, rare fucking hats, rare fucking, clothes, whatever. Everybody wants the exclusive, right? So like with reptiles too, bro, like everybody wants the craziest shit. The colors and iridescent fucking pythons and shit,
Yeah, our pythons are crazy, bro. I mean,
yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures, man. You guys got some dope shit.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Actually, the biggest one that we have, Atlas, he was a gift, bro. Pretty much. I paid $20 for that animal. Damn. So it was like, yeah, man. Some of these animals have been just gifts where I get them from my mentors or people that are just like teaching me the ways,
Yeah, that's dope. Give me 1 second.
Bro, do you have any spiritual practice?
I knew this question was coming, even though I didn't know if you were gonna ask me it or not, because I heard you ask it to other people. So I guess, to make a long story short, right? As much as possible. I know I have long ass stories and I go off on tangents and shit. Spiritually, I was brought up as a Lutheran, which is like the lamest, boringest religion ever. But family values and I guess good vibes or whatever. My grandparents were Lutheran, and I would go to church with them like every Sunday, or they'd force me to go to church with them as much as I fought to not go. And then as I got older, I stopped going and didn't have to go pretty much, and I could sleep in finally on Sundays and didn't really care. But when I was younger, I got in trouble, right? I got arrested for graffiti when I was really young, and I had a lot of community hours, and that's how I got DJing, and that's also how I started, doing more graffiti and DJing and graphics as well. That's where I met my friend Fufi at. But and that's like a whole nother story. But it was a church nonetheless, and it was Christian, and it was actually a Salvation Army church that I was going to, and they did a lot of outreaches where they would, we did like a drama to like keep kids out of gangs and off drugs. So before I knew it, like going for so long, I was like, this is stupid. And then, they would take you to other churches, and some would be like Baptist or like a little bit more hardcore fucking Christian. And, people were different at churches. Like you go to Spanish churches, Christian churches, there's people yelling in fucking Spanish. You go, to the hood churches, and there's, people running around in circles and shit. You know what I mean? And or just like laying hands on people and people fainting and shit. You know what I mean? Like, so for a minute, I'm like, yo, this is fucking crazy, and I got into it. I started actually fucking reading the Bible and like really getting into it. And I was like, yo, like maybe they're saying that you could feel some shit, like you could feel God and you could be born again. And so I got born again, I got resaved, I guess, as a Christian. And then from traveling a lot with them, we would go to a lot of different churches, and I would see crazy shit, like some Benny Hinn shit. Which if you don't know who Benny Hinn is, like he used to throw, or Benny Hill. Yeah, Benny Hinn? Yeah, Benny Hinn. He was like this really big evangelist dude that would like sell out arenas and would just be like, "You're healed," and like hold his hand out, and like the whole crowd would just fall out. Like in a fucking like in the arena, you know what I mean? Like one whole side of a crowd would just fall to the floor. You know what I mean? And like pass out and like be yelling, and he would be healing people that can't walk, shit like that, And I'm like, yo, this is fucking weird. And people believe that shit. And I believe that if you really believe and you're really that focused on something, it can definitely change a lot of stuff, no matter what religion you are. If you focus a lot on it and you're positive about it, that you can change certain stuff, right? But after being in the church for a while, I was gonna get a lot of my friends got ordained as ministers, and I was gonna do it. And I talked to my friend about it, and I said, "Yo, this is something that I kind of want to do. What should I do?" And he's like, "Well, you should learn about other religions first." And I was like, "What? Like, what if you're Christian? Why the fuck you saying that? You know what I mean?" He's like, "I'm just being honest. Like, learn about like Buddhism, learn about the Quran, learn about like every everything that you can think of. Just learn about different religions, and then come back. And if you feel like this is the religion for you and this is what you want to do, then do it and like put the work in." And so I was like, you know what? All right, cool. And so sure enough, I started looking into Buddhism and like looking into like just everything. Like it was wild. Like, and I've really never paid attention to books or anything that much as I started looking more into like spirituality and the religions and shit. So I decided not to. Mainly because still going to church, I started to see a real shady side of church where it was just about money, and a lot of it was like a facade. And nobody wants to hear that shit, but that's just what it is.
It's funny that you mentioned that, brother. And sorry to cut you off there. You can continue here, but like with my godmother, or what we call my madrina in the Yoruba culture, because I practice what is the synchronicity of Catholicism. I don't practice Catholicism at all, but how it was made is a synchronicity of Catholicism in the tribe Yoruba, or the land Yoruba. It comes from Central Africa. Ghana, some of the southern countries of Africa practice it as well. And it was brought over to Haiti, and from Haiti it digressed to Cuba and some of the Cayos of Florida. Puerto Ricans as well, and Colombians practice it. But the same thing, man. I had a reading by one of the babalaos, or the head priests, and he said that I was coming to knock down towers or kill or blow out candles that were in my way. And what he meant by that was like to pretty much defoul the fakes, or to tell, who the fuck is actually telling the truth. So in a sense, like there's some priests that charge you 12,000, 13,000 for a ceremony, where it shouldn't
Right.
be charged to that point, and they're pretty much raping people of their money. It's
Sure.
it's insane. It's fucking insane, man. But it's kind of the same thing. It shows a light, but you also see the darkness on the other end. Everything has a balance.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Like, not everybody is on that vibe. Um, but where I was at, it was that. It was about the money. It was about, who can get money the most, and taking care of the family first before they take care of, anything else, even the church. So it sucked. So eventually I kind of like got real like personally spiritual, right? Like, as like things progressed, and like, you go through the waves of life. I started to, how do you say, like, just visualize and like dig real deep into like just myself, and learning about myself through like trauma, um and like, you know issues that I've had since I was younger, um and figuring out ways to like deal with it and to cope with it. And everybody always tries to go to religion, and I believe that like religion is fun, right? It's inviting. It's comfortable, like a blanket, like a pillow, right?
Hmm.
That's why people like to go to church. Because
It's
sometimes,
almost like a washing of hands. That's the way
sure,
I see it.
or it's like all week has been fucked, and like I literally got to be around some positive people that believe in positive things. And I think that has a lot to play into it, right? No matter what religion you are, like, you go to church because it's positive, and the people that are there to do the same thing.
Mhm.
Until you see some fuck shit, then you're like, this isn't too positive. This is about money, right? Um, but there is some real churches that are really about like just fuck a religion, like let's just be atheists, and or like non-domination. What is it? Non-denominational. The fuck is the word?
I
Non-dominational. I think it is.
Yeah, something like that.
Um, where it's just no religion. Like, it's just here. Like, we're here to like pray to God. And I kind of like that, right? So I've always been a person of nature because I don't leave the house a lot. So when I do, like, I really focus on nature. Um, and like I love like going up, to the forest and just sitting there, or listening to the wind, or staring at the sun on the clouds and shit like that. So like that shit always put me like in a zen moment, like growing up. And it also reminded me of my grandparents, right? Because that's what we did. Like, every night we would go out and watch the stars and talk about the stars, and have like, a telescope, and look, and at the fucking cosmos, and like all the just everything. That was my peace, and that's what makes me feel happy. So when I think about religion now, I think that everything is religion, and I think that everything is God. I don't believe in a specific God. I believe that what makes you happy is God. You are God. Everybody's God, right? The wind is God. Like, fucking the air is God. Like, we all need everything to live. We need all that shit to live. And if you treat it bad, like, we're not gonna live. So, and I think if there is a God or whatever, they put that there for us to live. And those are the things that make us happy. That those are the things, like, even music, man. When you hear like really good music, and you're like, oh my god, like, this give me the chills, or made me want to cry. Like, that's fucking God, bro. Like, that feeling that you get when you hear good music, or when there's a moment in your life where you look back at it, and it's like, oh my god, like, that was intense. Like, even watching a movie, and it was just the art of the movie, or looking at a painting, or whatever it may be that makes you feel that way. That's God. Like, That's my definition of God and religion. So that's what I believe.
That's crazy, man. Do you have any particular tactic or rituals that you practice on a daily by chance?
Not really, man. And I wish I did because it would be more calming in my life, I think.
Yeah.
Uh I think the best thing I could do is like leave the house and like smell the
Mm,
air, look at
yep.
the sky, feel the sun, look at the trees. Like that shit makes me calm. It makes me happy. Um, if I get to go out of town, even better, right?
Hmm.
And I smoke when I have to, like not all the time like I used to when I was younger. I've definitely chilled out a lot. And I mean that was another Zen moment too for me. Was when it became medicinal in Phoenix or in Arizona. I was growing for a while in a private grow, and I learned a lot. I worked actually at a grow shop, like a hydroponics shop, for like a year and a half, 2 years. And I don't want to say I learned everything about growing, but I know a lot. And by growing a lot of plants at once, you start to feel at one with the plants. And if you treat the plants good, and you give them natural shit, and you feed them well, and you don't neglect them, they feed off of that shit. And like a lot of hippies and shit say like, oh, if you play music and blah blah blah. So like I always played like jazz and stuff in my
Yeah.
rooms. You know what I mean? And I always sat in there and smoked. You know what I mean? Like and just sat there and looked at the plants, man, and focused. And like that was a fucking zen for me. Like just putting my fingers in the dirt and pulling shit out and like clipping leaves off and like pruning and like doing all that. That was like my fucking getaway. And I did that shit for like 2 3 years until what normally happens to those types of things. You know, uh, yeah, they raided the spot, and thankfully, I didn't have anything illegal. Technically, I had all my paperwork, and they just raided it just to raid it. And they told me that they
Huh.
could press charges on me, and they didn't. I mean, this was like 9 years ago. But it was a scary time because I thought I was doing something legit because the state said it was legit. You know what I mean? I had all my paperwork and like they were expecting to come in and like find guns and money and all this fucked up shit. And I was literally just growing for patients, legally. And it fucking sucked because we had licenses for everybody. And it was a scary time. I mean, I had to move like to my mom's just because like they didn't know where she lived at, and I was like shook, for a while. And I had my daughter, so like I didn't want her to see a fucked up situation because they raided the spot when I wasn't there. So I ended up having to like meet up with them afterwards with the warrant and like go over everything with them and like the person I was renting the spot from and like yeah, it was a big pain in the ass, but like, and it was scary for like a couple of years because they're like, we could bring this shit up anytime and press charges on you. Now that it's fully legal, like they can't do shit. But it was always that thing in the back of my mind. But like, it sucks because I would love to grow again. Like, right, that's why like during the pandemic, I bought a whole bunch of plants because I just wanted to get back to nurturing like nature, right, and like having a piece of nature like in my house, and it's also like a gratifying because like if you take care of your plants, like your plants are going to grow, they're going to get bigger, they're going to get beautiful, they're like it's a progress, and you watch it grow, and you watch it like get bigger, and if you want to clip it and make a new one, you can make babies, you know what I mean, and all that shit. So I don't know, I just like that for me is like one of the little zen things I like to do that it makes me feel good as well. So I wish I could do it more, but fucking this computer and work takes too much of my time. So
Yeah, man. As long as you keep up those tactics and keep them going and evolving. You say you put up time for going out. Do you hike or do you just go out into nature or drive out there?
nah, I don't. I mean, I wish, bro. I I would probably fucking walk a half a mile and fucking fall out. But I just love to like see shit,
Yeah.
and like pull off the road and just vibe. Like could get out, sit on a rock, get in the zone quietly, smoke a joint, and fucking try not to think about work or anything that's negative. And like it's crazy too because people say, do you pray? Um, and I'll pray every now and then, and I don't pray to Jesus. You know what I mean? I pray to God, like the God of gods.
The
And
source.
yeah, the source. So like that type of shit. Like that's probably as far as I go with it. And I mean, even last year, like I had a lot of dark times with like my personal life. I had like 4 friends die in like 8 months. That were like really good friends of mine that I grew up with that I've known like for multiple years. Some for 15 years, some for 20 years, some for 5 years.
Condolences, bro.
And it was rough. I went through a big breakup. Right before all that shit, and it was like a 5-year relationship, so I was like already going through it, and then boom, like one of my best friend dies, and like it was a rough situation. And as a designer, as an artist, like unfortunately, but fortunately because I feel honored, right? Uh, Whenever a friend of mine dies, or somebody that might be close to me, or friends or family that die or pass away, they always hit me up to do like a T-shirt or they do the eulogy or do the pamphlets or whatever for the funerals. And I mean, a lot of times it's like, oh fuck, man, like I don't want to be the one, but you know what? I'll do it. Like, and I never like they're like, oh, I'll throw you some. Nah, bro, I'm good. Like, let me know what you need. I'll do it. So I've always done those, and to do them for like your really close friends because you
That's
want
a hard
to
one.
like honor them to the fullest.
Yeah.
And it took me some time, bro. It took me a couple like really solid days where all I did was focus on creating this like booklet that had like certain poems in it, and certain pictures, and like I wanted the design to be right, and I wanted like everything to be on point. You know what I mean? We designed T-shirts, we designed candles, like all kind of shit, and it was cool because I got to talk to a lot of my homies I haven't talked to in a long time that were friends with them. Um, the person I'm talking about is Caper, right? He's literally probably one of the most well-known graffiti artists in Phoenix or in Arizona. He's like the king of trains, is like across the nation. He has like over 3,000 documented trains that he's done
Oh
like
wow.
pieces on. But he is also the person that started the NG crew, which is Nitty Gritty, with La Locota and El Mac, and a lot of other really well-renowned artists and graffiti artists. But yeah, I think that was cool. Is that like a lot of people came from out of town that I haven't seen in a long time, um, and we got to hang out and like catch up a little bit. Unfortunately, it was under bad circumstances, but they also wanted to make T-shirts and stickers, and everybody wanted to kind of do their own thing and put their um just to give to the family, give to the friends, to do kind of give back. And so it was cool because like I was running around like grabbing shirts from everybody, and like because it was a whole bunch of different orders, we were ordering from different printers, and it was wild. It was a crazy time, and it was fun, but it sucked because when you're mourning like that, I think like you don't want to have to worry about, and that's what sucks for families. Like when somebody passes away, like like the people that are really responsible end up getting so stressed out by like just planning, a funeral and like going through with it. You don't get a chance to mourn, and like really break down. And like so by the time like shit was over, like I put together a video for like the screen, like when people talked, and it was just like a lot of shit for that one. Because we just wanted to be really dope.
Yeah.
But I didn't even like mourn for like weeks until it finally just hit, and like I got sad, and then by then another one of my friends passed, and like it fucking sucked, and that one took a while. And then towards the end of the year, in 1 week, I had two friends pass away, um, that were good friends of mine as well, and it was just the same shit over and over, man. Like, fuck, this sucks. Like, you're not depressed, and you're just kind of like blown away by it, and then boom, you have to hit the funeral, and you know talk to the family and see everybody cry, and just you break down like after, and you're just like, yo, like back to the fucking darkness again for a couple weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this year, like I was like, yo, last year was dark as fuck. So this year I'm just trying new things, trying to change scenery, trying to travel more, trying to do more. Like I stopped DJing for like 3 years, during the pandemic, a little bit right before it. Um, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna start DJing again. I miss playing to a crowd. I miss playing music in general. And that feeling that you get when you drop something and people just go crazy. And you have a good crowd, and you have people that like appreciate what you're playing and how you're playing it. Um, I think that's like the ultimate high, right? And that's why musicians do what they do, DJs do what they do. When you have a good crowd and you have people that really appreciate, even if it is shit that you're not wanting to play technically, but if you're working the crowd and they're responding to it, like that's like the ultimate high, bro. Like that feeling is not about like getting drunk or turning up or whatever. It's about like that feeling that you get when there's that many people reacting to like what you're doing. Um, so yeah, I've been doing that. I've DJed probably 7, 8 times now already this year. A little bit towards the last end of the last year too. Um, and then learning, bro. Like I'm a fucking weirdo. Like I love nerdy shit, and I've always wanted to learn like 3D. So I've been really working on learning 3D and like trying to animate 3D, and just a little bit of everything. Like if I always like want, I always look at certain shit, and I because like one of my biggest creative processes is just research, right? And like finding new shit, trends, new things that are popular, that what are getting a lot of likes, and then kind of like going, okay, well, how can I flip that, and how are they doing it? You know what I mean? There's a reason why people are fucking with it. So you kind of go and start doing your research, and then trying to learn it. And dude, nowadays tutorials on YouTube is crazy. You could learn a lot of shit in a small amount of time,
Yep.
off of YouTube. So like I think instead of thinking like I want to learn this app or this program or how to do 3D, right? Like I'll be like, okay, so in my use case, like I always learn it under pressure. So I say, okay, like what do I have to do this week? I gotta make this logo, or I have to make this logo for this flyer, some event that we got coming up. And then, okay, how do I want it to look? And then I kind of like sketch it out or come up with an idea for it. And then I was like, okay, I'll make it 3D. I don't know how to fucking do it, but I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it 3D, right? And then I just started doing research, like how do you do text in 3D? Oh, I want it to look Chrome, so how do you do Chrome text in 3D? Okay, cool, I got that, got it to work. Okay, this looks dope, and this is how you can adjust it and fuck with it. And then, okay, well, how do I animate it? How do I make it spin, or how can I make it a glare going across it, or whatever? You know what I mean? To give it life. And then I fucking looked that up and learned that. Now I'm like learning how to make shit like melt and do all kind of fucking weird shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun, man. Like I just made a new logo for that Benito's birthday party. And it's dope. And I'm trying to learn. I'm literally learning how to animate it right now, and I've gotten some of it done. But I'm stuck. So I like being stuck because it challenges me, and like I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. Thank God I do have a couple friends that know Blender, and I can like call them up and see, like, hey man, I'm stuck at this shit. So
I've actually
yeah.
been wanting I'm sorry to cut you off there, bro. I've been wanting to revamp the our logo for Ultimate Zen Reptiles. I'm not sure if you've seen our breeder company logo.
I don't think I have. No.
Let me see. We just revamped it last year, but I'm not sure, man. I'm not kind of like digging it. I kind of want something more simplistic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did see that. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. It's dude, the camera is terrible, bro. Like I can see like the outline of it, but it's not clear. You know what I mean? It's like blurry.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, when I looked at like I can when I'm looking at StreamYard, it looks clear on my end, like the cameras. But when I look on YouTube, like my camera is more fuzzier than yours. It's weird. And it's just like probably the way it streams.
Yeah, and I have it at 1080p or 720.
I think 720 because that's as high as I can go. But yeah, no, I mean like I could do any kind of. I mean, bro, I could do literally do any kind of style, but and like something as a designer, and I've been designing for fuck, I don't know, over 20 years, right? Um, I used to love to make crazy 3D colorful logos and or my favorite thing in the world is script, right? Because it's elegant, it makes you feel like sexy, right? And like I love different types of script. Like that's my jam. Like I literally will download a shit ton of script and never use it, but I just download it because I love it. And every now and then I'll use it, but like I'm like, what am I going to use this for? But it's fucking dope, you know. Um, but one rule, and it's always been my rule of thumb, is growing up, obviously making flyers that are actually physical, and they get printed and they get put in a coffee shop or they get put in a fucking salon or they get put in a record store. Uh, People would look at those flyers and what stood out the most, and the flyers that stood out the most were the clear, bold, bright flyers, right?
Mm.
That had focal points. The ones that didn't were just the ones that were all like the same color and like had too much detail to them where it wasn't like cut and dry. And people always wanted those like especially back in the day, like I want fucking diamonds on my shit and fucking blings and all kind of shit, and like I want it to be 3D and gold and the chrome on the front and rainbow fucking this and you're like, bro, like okay, cool, like I can do that. So what I would do, and I had to finally I was able to like finally stop having to explain myself all the time, but I would always use this like example by saying like if you had your logo on a flyer and it's small on the bottom and it was in a fucking salon or a barbershop when you walk in and you look over at the flyers, are they going to be able to read it? Is it going to stand out? And like, well, I mean, it looks cool. And I'm like, well, that's not what it's about. It's about branding. It's about people recognizing. It's about people. It's about beating it in people's face. You know what I mean? So they remember it. It's about keeping that same logo, keeping that same branding. And unfortunately, black and white's the best. Bold is better, not skinny script. You know what I mean? So that's the best. The best advice I can give to anybody that wants a logo is, yeah, sure, make something original. Try to not to use fonts, but I mean, I'm a big believer in like finding really good fonts and kind of freaking them a little bit. So it's not necessarily the font, but like a remix version of the font. And I always adjust everything, like the kerning and like the way that things lay. most of the time. I've done a lot of fucking logos, man, and there's a lot of people rocking logos that have been, in documentaries and movies, on album covers, like everywhere. That I even to this day I'm like, oh shit, I made that logo. That's wild. I forgot about that. You know what I mean? Like for instance, like just recently, DJ Chris Villa, right? I made his first logo, which was like a D and a CV that like was vertical, and of course he was like, "Yo, I want it to look like neon with chrome and da 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 da," And so I made it, and like he used it for fucking. Even when he entered, I think the Red Bull battles, he used that logo. But he started to see like, "Yo, I need something different," and I ended up making a cursive logo for him, but it was bold. It was like really bold, like a thick lined cursive, and just black and white. Like we have a chrome version of it, never use it because the black and white always stands out the most on anything. So whenever he sends it, if it's on a fucking screen behind him in a big, LED wall, or if it's in a movie or whatever, and like even in the documentary that he just put out, or somebody did, I forget what the company's called that did the documentary on him. It's called All for One or One for All, one of those, on Amazon, and you can rent it. It's actually really fucking good. Believe it or not, just be like, oh, I'm not just trying to big up my homie, but I mean he's an amazing DJ, but it was dope to see like my logo that I made for him, both actually, because they showed even his first logo that I made him a couple times.
Oh shit!
But yeah, it was dope, and I even to fucking think like, oh shit, I didn't even think about that I actually made that logo, and it's in a fucking movie, So that type of shit is man, like that's probably your best feeling when it comes to designing or doing art too, is like the gratification that you get of like seeing somebody walking down the street with a design that you made on a t-shirt, or a logo that you made on a fucking humongous LED screen or projected on the side of a wall that 100, 200, 10,000 people are seeing all the time, and that's fucking dope. It feels good, even though they don't know you did it. Like you did it, so you know what I mean.
Yeah, the fact that it's there and it's being admired,
Sure. But yeah, I mean, I think that like logo wise, it always has to stand out. It always has to be bold. It has to be something that you're going to remember forever.
So, what do you think about this logo, bro? Like the whole spirit animal, is it too thin, or is it too? Like, what
I
would
like
you
it. It's
critique?
just it's sporadic, right? Like I'm sure the design in the middle probably means a lot to you somehow, some way. And that's why you used it. But like the S, like as far as the snake goes, like if I were to critique it, right? It's very, very thin, and it just looks like period, not spirit, right? As much as you want to like try to make something like what it is, the best thing you could do, bro, is just do text, black and white, and then like put a snake next to it, or put a gecko next to it, or put that swirl around it, or like next to it, right? Do it in different ways, like stacked spirit animal, put the logo to the left, put the logo in the middle, and then put spirit animal on each side, left to right. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, because the font looks cool, and it has that vibe to it. But even then, like the M and the A's are really thin. And like that's something that I personally would be like, okay, how can I make those bolder so they stand out more? Because like thin shit, you just can't see it, bro. Like, unfortunately, and it's hard to brand it because nowadays, like people's attention span is like 3 seconds, and they flip through and they flip through and they flip through, and like it's like tap tap swipe, tap tap swipe, and like if it doesn't catch their eye immediately. And even if it does catch their eye, they're not going to remember it until they see it like 30 times.
So get rid of the center circle, right?
What's that?
To get rid of the center emblem in the middle. That's what you said?
I would say go with, if I like the middle piece. I would probably just not use the snake and the gecko, even though it says kind of what you do, right? But like it makes it hard to read. It needs to
Hmm.
be easy to read, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So if I were to critique it, I'm not, you do what you want to do, but
No, definitely, bro.
that would be my suggestion.
It's good advice. It's good advice, definitely, man.
But yeah, um, how's Tucson, man? I haven't been down to Tucson in a minute.
Tucson. Today we have an event popping right now at Kava for opening. We're going to be taking down some snakes, having a display. I haven't been downtown lately. I have to go downtown here soon. But it's been chill, man. It's been raining for the most part these last couple of days.
It's really weird. There's been a lot more rain this year. I don't know why.
Yeah, and snow.
Global warming,
Flammable
right?
snow. Yeah. Flammable snow.
It always rains more in Tucson too, like
Yeah.
on the outskirts of Phoenix, like but in Phoenix, like downtown, like I feel like we never get the rain. We never get any of the shit. But this year, it's been a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it has. Well, it's good to get the rain, man, but probably just shifting climates or something's going on with
Just
global warming.
fucks up the yards, bro. Like got all the weeds now in the desert.
Yeah.
I need to make it out to Tucson soon. I literally just called down there today to talk to Richie, French. I have a guy that is one of my good friends up here in Phoenix, and he was down in Tucson. He's like, "I'm gonna go to Tucson." I'm like, "Yo, go over there. I'll like book you a table, you know." But I miss Tucson, bro. When we first opened up Cobra Tucson out there, I was out there. We had rented a house out there for like a year and a half, 2 years,
Oh, damn.
and we would go like every weekend or every other weekend, and like that right there, like that type of shit that's my relaxation. That's my peace, right? And I remember like first going to Tucson and staying there for a couple days, um, and like taking tons of pictures because
It's
it's
a vibe.
so like a vibe out there. You know what I mean? Like all the vintage shit. You guys got so much neon, and the rules are different, man. Like the rules are fucking different. Like and people don't real. That's what I used to really trip on because in Phoenix they're super strict about signage and how you put signage or what you put on the side of your building or how your shit looks. And you have to pay a lot of fucking money to get it registered and get it licensed and shit. And you have to get it approved and you have to put schematics in to get it approved. It's a lot of work.
Damn.
And they'll fucking tell you no if it doesn't like match the fucking historic vibe or the aesthetics of all the other buildings around you. They're gonna say fuck you, redo it. You know what I mean? And they do it all the time. And it also pertains to like each city. So like Scottsdale, Tempe, Phoenix, Glendale, all the shit. Like they're really particular and they're all different of how they'll let you do certain shit. Tucson, they don't give a fuck. You could paint whatever the fuck you want. You could hang as many as banners. So like that crazy like organic clutter, I guess, of like advertisement and like design and like art all in one. Like you'll see a mural, you'll see a fucking banner, you'll see a dope like logo, you'll see like the sign will be fucked up and vintage and like
It's like
whether
hippie vibe, you know?
yeah, it gives it like an organic feel.
Have you been
And
to
then the
Bisbee?
food. I think I have once or twice. I've seen a lot of recent videos of everybody going like, "Oh, you got to check out Bisbee. It's great." You know what I mean? But I haven't been recently, and it looks amazing. It has that old vintage. I've been to
Mhm.
Globe. I shot a movie in Globe. We rented a jail out there. It's like a museum, and we rented it out and shot a jail scene for a movie in there. And that was a vibe. Like it was just like we were out there for the day, and that's all I did. Like I went and did my part and like shot some B-roll, and then for the rest of the day, I just hung out with my daughter and fucking drove around and took pictures of everything and
That's
shot like
badass.
footage. You know what I mean? Like that's the shit that like makes me happy, right? Like I could walk around, I could see new shit, and I can make art at the same time. Like when I get home, I can go through it and say like, "Oh, this came out good. This came out like shit. Yo, I'm gonna fuck with this, and I'm gonna make this better, and it's gonna look dope." And 98% of that shit never gets put out.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You
We
know?
always keep it to ourselves, man.
Yeah. Like I got like libraries of fucking footage and like photos, and that's how I am with my phone now. Because I got the new iPhone like 14, and like the camera is like a 48 megapixel fucking camera.
They're insane, bro.
It's
They're
insane. And then like the cinematic mode on like 4K on the fucking camera, bro, is beautiful. Like it gives like literally this. I'm on my mirrorless camera right now, and you can see like my face is clear, but my hand's blurry.
Yeah.
So it has a depth of field, right? And like the same thing with the new iPhone. It has like the cinematic, it gives it the depth of field, and the focus is fuck, man. It's good. Like you could shoot a fucking movie on your iPhone for real.
Hell yeah. It's convenient, man, to actually have it just in the phone, instead of carrying the DSLR or anything heavier.
Yeah, and I mean, I like carrying my camera, and I spend a lot of fucking money on my camera and my lens. But you can't put it in your pocket and walk around. Like you got to carry that big ass shit around everywhere.
Yeah, man.
So
That's what we usually use when we go out to Cobra, because we do offer people photography if they want to take pictures, and we take a picture for them as well.
oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was what's her name, Alicia, that shoots the photos, right?
Felicia? I think Felicia.
Felicia? No, yeah, it's not Alicia. It's Felicia. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All the pictures that I
always thought
post
it was
are
Felicia.
no, those are my pictures, the ones I post.
Oh yeah, that's dope. And I mean, like on the real, like going back to like the very beginning of the conversation of like how we first started talking, I think, I thought that was cool. Is like there wasn't a lot of people making videos at Cobra in Tucson. Like we got an abundant amount of people that are like, hey, let me come shoot a promo video for you guys in Phoenix. And there's really not a lot in Tucson. Like believe it or not, there's a couple, and they charge a fucking lot. Which not hating on the hustle, but like if we're gonna give you consistent work and like try to fuck with you a lot, then it needs to be a better price. But at the same time, like also there's only 5 people, so like people know, or the photographers, the videographers, or whoever know that like I'm the only person that can do this, right? Like, and there's like 4 other people, so. And the good thing is they keep the same price, all of them, and like nobody tries to undercut each other, and that's rare because even with DJs, like there's always DJs trying to undercut photographers, videographers, everything. So, and right
I think
now,
with go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I said with a lot of the industry, man, there's always some type of animosity going on. If you stay in your lane, bro, there's no fucking issue. But there's always some type of animosity going on.
Coming from every like walk of entertainment, from being a promoter throwing shows to helping open up clubs, to DJing, everything, to the marketing or whatever. That's a given because everybody thinks they're better than the other, right? It's very rare that you find humble people that want to help each other out. Everybody feels like they're going to take from your pocket, right? Or this person's going to take from me and my family or my pocket. And anytime that there's a fucking threat like that, no matter what, bro, it's a fucking given, like straight up. Like you can't do nothing about it. And like as much as like there's those gems, right? Like that are out there that are like humble people that love to just help each other. They feel like that there's enough money and enough people out to get for everybody. But even like in Tucson, like it's really fucking cutthroat. Like in Phoenix too, like everybody wants the best DJs. They want the best photographers. They want the best videographers. They want the best marketing team. They want the best graphic designers. They want the best security. They want the best bartenders. They want the full package, right? Um, and it's hard to have the full package, right? Tucson has a shortage of fucking DJs, bro. Like straight up, it's crazy. Like there's so many clubs in Tucson right now, and there's not enough DJs.
Yeah.
Like if you start DJing right now, you make money, bro. Straight up. Like I mean, not everybody, everybody shouldn't
Not
be a
everybody.
DJ, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you like, if you knew your shit and you know how to like really DJ and you could rock a crowd, like there's money in Tucson for DJs because there's not a lot, man. And as much as like it seems like there's not. If you really look at the clubs and the times that they need to be there, it's a struggle and it's a fight. It's a tug of war. So then that becomes competitive, right? So you're like, yo, we're gonna pay more, or we're gonna pay less, or we're gonna put you on more, whatever.
And to any artist, bro, I think once you go to that level and you lower yourself just to get that sell or that, it just lowers your quality. I think you just put yourself out in a way like, okay, this guy's just here for the money instead of actually maintaining your focus, keeping your line, no matter if it's still high. If they really like you, they're gonna book you.
100%. And like nowadays, it sucks because it did matter before, but it was really about the promoter. It was about the location. It was about the spot. Now it's more about like, what can you bring us, right? Like, oh, you DJ? Can you make your own flyers? I'm like, oh no, but I have a friend. Okay, well, you're gonna have to make your own flyer. How many followers do you have on Instagram? I personally, I hate it, right? When I look at it, I don't think people should be judged by their followers. I don't think they should be judged by what they can bring to the table. But when it comes to making sure that the club goes good and that there is people there, and you have to look at all that shit. And some things aren't going to weigh out. Like maybe they don't have a lot of followers, but they're a great DJ and they fucking like to have fun. They're good energy. Then cool, bring them in. Like fuck it, I don't care about the followers or any of that shit. But even people that come with followers, right? Like they're fucking pieces of shit. You know what I mean? Like they come in and they're fucking arrogant and they're causing problems. They go over their drink tab or whatever. And people are like, yo, this dude sucks or whatever. Like whether it's the personality sucks or the music sucks or the technical skills suck. Like it could be it's impossible for the perfect balance. So if you find somebody that's perfect, like good luck. That can actually like help promote and post on their shit like consistently and let people know, and like it's impossible to find people like that. But there is some, right? And like you tend to get lucky. So I feel like when we book for Cobra and for other spots or whatever, or when you're trying to get booked, like you have to like really break down of like what you're bringing to the table. If it's not skill, it has to be something else. You know what I mean? But when we look at it, we look at it from all aspects. We have to, because it's a business. But and we get hit up all the time, like, yo, let me come DJ. Look at my followers. Like, yo, dude, like, come DJ. Like you don't need to ask me. Like talk to the DJs because we already have our TJs, right? We already have our people that we've took time to bring in, try out, see if it works, make sure that they do good, make sure they don't get too fucked up and act a fool, or there's a lot of things that play into who you're hiring. But it's really up to them. Because most of our nights are all booked out. So we have tons of people that hit us up all the time that are like, yo, I want a DJ. Like, yo, come to one of the nights, talk to the DJ and a guest spot, And if you do good, sure, I'll have your number. When the spot opens up or, if we start a new night, I'm going to hit you up. But, if somebody's sick or whatever, I'll fill you in. But, like, it's rough, dude. In Tucson, it's really rough. Thank God, like there's some good DJs out there, and there's certain people that I would love to have play at Cobra, like Herm is definitely one of them. I love fucking Herm, but he's busy, dude, and he's always doing like really big shows and like really big parties, and that's what's gonna make his money, and I get that like 100%. And like even Hump House, like dude, like I've known that dude for a minute. Him and Robbie, and like even him, like sometimes he gets busy. He's doing a whole bunch of other shit. You can't get him in. But we've been blessed, like with Walter and like Sesco and Gus Bus and Luna and Posy, of course. Like Possy's been there probably the longest now. And then we've had other DJs that have played as guests, or like Master Monk came a couple times, and but that's the thing, is like I can only count on two hands, of the DJs in Tucson that I know of. You know what I mean? And like you can count on your hands and toes how many fucking clubs are out there, and that's a fucking problem, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, it sucks. Like competition sucks. We try to stay hella neutral. We don't have no fucking beef with nobody. We don't fucking talk shit about nobody. I feel like it shouldn't be a competition. It should just be fun. And like,
Yep, it's all
if
about
it ain't
fun, bro.
then why the fuck you doing it? You know what I mean?
I think you're taking it too seriously at that point. If you're going to the extent to hate or to have any type of animosity.
I mean, it happens though. Like somebody does something shady or they talk shit. You know what I mean? Then like people get their feelings hurt and they want to go like backlash or whatever. But like it's like the most unprofessional thing you can do is like talk shit about another DJ or another venue or another company that's similar to yours. Like, fuck,
it's just putting you down to
lane.
that level. Yeah,
create your own lane, do your own thing. Like, who gives a fuck what anybody has to say? And even when I hear people talk shit like about me or my work or the places I work for or whatever, like we just fucking like we never respond, bro. Like ever. That's like rule number 1. You know what I mean?
We don't.
Ever. Why? Like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, it's super stupid, bro. Like, there's no reason for you to like engage in like petty shit, And most of the time, it's trolls or people just trying to get like clout as well by doing that, by trolling or whatever. And it's rough, man. Like taking care of all these venues and all the DJs. There's so many egos, from the bartenders to the bar backs to the managers to everybody has, and like my boy Adi, man, like he came into this pretty much blind, bro. And like when he started Cobra, it was sure, we've been to bars, sure, we've thrown parties, but like coming in, who knew what the fuck was gonna happen? And I was even like doubtful, right? Like, yo, this is kind of a reach, bro. Arcade bar, this is fucking weird. You know what I mean? But it worked, and then before we knew it, we opened up Cobra Tucson, and then before we knew it, Ziggy's and Stardust, and then after the pandemic, we opened up High Score. And then he just opened up a spot called Liars Club in downtown Phoenix. It's really cool. Definitely a vibe. And actually currently we're opening up another spot called Night Owl in South Scottsdale. And that should be next week. We should have the soft opening, I think. So, and we've just been getting ready for that. Which I don't even know if they're going to have DJs. I don't think they'll ever have DJs at Liars Club. They're more of like a pub, like bar and grill type spots, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're a vibe. Like going in, you feel some type of way, That's kind of what we like to try to create, or they try to create too, like whether it's the marketing or the actual interior and stuff like that. So eventually I want to start getting into that type of shit where I can design a venue fully and like be like, this is
you
what
should
we
design our venue, man. We've been working on a lot of options, man. We're talking to Richie about it, and it's just not in our pockets at the moment, but we had other expansions.
Yeah,
man.
That's the hard part, man. Is the funding and like when
Yeah,
these when they go into these projects, it's multiple investors, multiple opinions,
yeah,
multiple things that people want to do and what they think is gonna work. Sometimes people have to fall back and bite their tongue and deal with what they have to deal with and let the person that's gonna take over and run with it and spend the money wisely. To not overspend, to stay on the budget. There's a lot of
definitely.
things that play into it. And I think that's the hardest part, right? Like is finding a team of people that you mesh with and that you can like do business with and on top of like trusting that are not gonna fuck shit up
Hmm.
and not like fight you so much on ideas. Like sure, constructive criticism is good, but like when you start to get people that I don't know, man. Like some people think they know everything and they think that everything is going to work, and like that's when you start butting heads.
Yep.
When it comes to like business partners and stuff like that. I mean, I think everybody has to go through it, right? Unless you're like it's just you and you don't have any partners, and the only person you're fighting with is yourself. Like, is this going to work? Is this not? It's really hard, man. Like, especially when there's like that much money invested, it's wild.
Yeah, man.
You don't want to go over budget and not be able to open. And then once you open, you want to make sure that you get your money back or that you actually just make a fucking some sort of profit. And yeah, that shit's wild.
Yeah, man, it takes a lot to break ground. It's not just easy. It's easy said and done, but at the end of the day, you have a lot to. And our CAC was pretty good, man. We've overlooked our numbers and done certain things to see if we can interest some investors. But to be real with you, brother, I'd rather go with nonprofit. Because of what we're trying to achieve. I'm not sure which episodes you watched, but I kind of disclosed a little bit of what we want to do. I was a product of a program called Youth Build, bro. I was pretty much homeless, parent on the making. My wife was pregnant at the time, and we went to this program for low income families and homeless kids. So we were building homes for 1 week, and then the other week we were going to this high school online from Pennsylvania so we can get our high school diploma. So we got our high school diploma and we got our NCCR card or National Accreditation of Construction license. So we could get
Wow.
any job at any construction site.
That's
So
dope.
that was a program that put us on the wheels, like got us from the ground up. So if I could do that with my animals, if I have some type of like open heart thing for kids who are going through it or either juveniles or homeless on the streets, we would like to work with certain foundations here in town so we can help them not only with us, but maybe the state can chip in and help the foundation as well. But it would be like some type of breeding project with the kids, showing them how to breed the animals or how to raise them up or how to keep up the enclosures, almost like a museum built by these kids.
Bro. Honestly, like eventually when I have the money, I guess that's ultimately what I want to do. I would love to teach like kids that don't have the means or people to teach them like how to do cool shit, like whether it's art,
Yeah.
whether it's music, whatever, right? That's always been like a dream of mine. Mainly because I wasn't homeless, but I was close to being homeless multiple times. Life wasn't fucking easy, bro. I grew up in the hood. I grew up in Maryville and moved to Glendale. We were on Section 8. We fucking lived in, the Prodigies for a little bit, you know what I mean? We had food stamps for a long time. Like it was fucked up. But I got in a lot of trouble. I got kicked out of even junior high. Well, before I was in, it was junior high. Um, I got kicked out of school, and they took me to jail in junior high. And when they let me out, they said, "Hey, you can't come back to school." And at that time, like the alternative schools first started opening. And I ended up going to this school that was like literally like a fucking trailer in the back of
Shit.
another school, and I had to be there. Like the rule was, if you didn't show up, and it was far from my house, I had to walk every day. home and two, early in the morning. Um, and for 2 years for junior high, and if you didn't show up, you got one warning, and if you did it again, literally the police would come to your house and arrest you and take you to jail. They'll find you and take you to jail. So you'd have to technically go on the run in that case. You know what I mean? Go stay at a friend's house, whatever. And I mean, you're 14, 15, 16 at the time. So that's impossible, right? Like, well, it's not impossible, but it's harder. um, so, that was like literally the only time I did really good in school. But if it wasn't for that school, I would have never did good. And also, they gave me the opportunity. Not only did I learn a lot during that period of my time, like that time that I was there. I They put me like in a magnet program for graphic design to go to a different school. They gave me opportunities. It didn't last long, unfortunately, but because I had the option, like for high school, it was like, do you want to go or do you not want to go? Like, do you want to get your diploma? Do you not want to get your diploma? And I think like nonprofits and people that help you get like GEDs or help kids that are just either homeless or have issues at home or that are just underprivileged, like there's always like a need for them, like there's always a want for them and a need for them, and like I still feel there's not enough, and like it's easy to get a like a what is it, a 901c or whatever the fuck it is, the nonprofit, but it just depends on how you're gonna do it, and how you're gonna like be able to get these kids to come in and like them have fun and really retain the information and what you're trying to show them and teach them, and make it fun for them, whether they're younger or teenagers or whatever. And I think that's important. You have to like spark their interest, and I think reptiles, bro, that's immediate. You know what I mean? Some kids will be weirded out, but other kids will be, yo, this is dope,
And that's what we would like to have, like an ecosystem where we have a section with teachers focused with plants and teachers focused with music, teachers focused with reptiles or animals, almost like a circle of what life is,
Sure. No, I mean, that's dope. It's just number one, funding, right? And it's like all about being like really on point. Like it takes a lot. People don't think it, like they have great ideas and they don't really realize of how much it takes to like just get a nonprofit license, right?
This is a lot of liability, bro. And to have a nonprofit, you have to meet a lot of regulations just by
100%.
breaking, even to the point where if you are allowed to have a permit, if one thing is offset, if measurements are wrong or one type of conversation didn't go straight with somebody, then it can ruin your entire project. You start from ground zero again.
And most of the time, you have to have like a representative that's already opened them or managed them to like help you through the process, and that costs money, right? So it's really like finding investors, finding people to donate on a consistent basis.
CPA,
like all of that shit. It's wild, bro. Like it's definitely a big hole, but it's been done over and over. And there's people that just have small nonprofits that they go feed the homeless and like they get funding just to like go buy food and put everybody together to like
See, the problem is, bro, that in order to make a nonprofit, because we breed our animals, it is looked upon kind of like sadistic. But wouldn't this be the perfect way to teach the kids to evolve with that as well? And breeding brings in, I'm not saying that this is a main source of money, or it should be, but breeding brings in a lot of lucrative ideas, meaning that a lot of the projects that as soon as the eggs are born or the babies are born are sold, and that could fund the program as well. But it just takes the good eye to see the point, because if you look at it where it's like it's sadistic and you're just doing it because you are producing money and you're doing it because of the lucracy of it, it's not that it is, but in a sense it is, because it just draws in a lot of funding, and it does.
Unless you're a rescue, I mean, look, do the math, bro.
Yeah.
Like, let's really dig in, right? Like a little bit. What's a fucking what's a zoo?
A
It's a
zoo,
nonprofit.
yeah, but if some of
It's a
them are
nonprofit,
AZ,
but guess
some
what? They have investors, they have donators, right? The people they take donation. Not only that, they charge a motherfucking cover to get in that bitch because it's to keep the money in it, right?
yeah,
Even though they have tons of donors, um, and they sell fucking merch, um, they do everything to get money,
yeah,
to keep it going, and they also have kids come in. They show them like they have classes and stuff like that. But for it to be like in the hood and or like in a in an area that you could bring a little bit of everybody, and teach them and like have them be able to come back every day for free or whatever, and teach them about like the cycle of reptile life or life in general or plant life or whatever. Um, that should not be a fucking problem considering that there's tons of fucking zoos and rescues that even the rescues, right, that get funding fully,
mhm,
to rescue animals. Those are all fucking nonprofits. But if you want to go to that rescue and look at the animals, it still costs money to go.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? So like, there definitely is something that maybe that's not getting looked over or getting missed. And
Well,
them not
there's a lot of bills and costs when it comes to zoos, bro. And like even opening up a rescue, this is why I would go opening up a rescue because there's a lot of liability within the animals themselves. So like if there's
sure,
any risk of like quarantine or anything that goes down with the animal, then that's loss in your entire facility, meaning that anything that goes down like health wise or any type of immunization that needs to happen, there's a lot of costs and bills that add up. But if you are over exceeding like by producing these animals, and at that point they look at you as retail, so it wouldn't fall under the category as it being a nonprofit because of the quantitative amount that you're bringing in flow. So in order to be a nonprofit, this was an idea that I had. I said, okay, well, why don't we make it a center where kids are coming to rehabilitate or coming from the streets, or like to actually make it a nonprofit where the funds aren't just being brought into the curator or the sole proprietor, which is us. It
right?
goes to the kids and it's just a circle, and it's constantly just flowing to them.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, because technically, I think it's a thin line, right?
Ethan.
And you have to try to like, I hate to say it, but like if you're a breeder and you're a business and you have your business, not a nonprofit, you can provide the nonprofit from your business, um, the means to have the nonprofit, right?
Yeah, yeah,
As a donator. So that might be a loophole, right? And you still keep all the animals or the overabundance of animals that you have as a business separately, right? And then
yeah.
anytime you need something, you donate it to the nonprofit, right?
And you're
For
onto something, bro, because a lot of the breeders that have done this, like one of the big guys, Brian Barczyk, he separated his breeding facility, because he eventually wanted to be an AZA zoo or a zoo that's qualified under the Americas. And then at
right,
that point, he would be able to get funding from nonprofit organizations. See, the thing is that why we wanted nonprofit is because most of us want the funding where it's a constant flow for the animals. You're
of
not
course,
dealing with fucking stress. You're having that on the flow where your customers aren't just your only reliability, but the government, in some sense, is helping you obtain this facility.
I mean that's when that comes to mind, like I would 100%. You know what I mean? That's what I would think of.
Yeah,
Try to. There's always loopholes, bro.
yeah, yeah. There's
You
always
know what I
loopholes.
mean?
It's just the excuse at this point. It's just the excuse.
Sure. And I mean, dude, it sucks. Like, it depends on who you are, and like sometimes you could find somebody or somebody that can really build a proposal and do it properly. That's done it before. Um, and you get lucky to get those people that want to help you and be part of it. That you don't have to spend a shit ton of money, um, right off the jump. And I think that that's important. Like just finding those people and networking, finding the right people. like everybody says, well, I think I can make a proposal and I think I can make a business plan, and I kind of see how a nonprofit works. Like, I think I could do it, but like, nah, bro. Like, you got to have somebody that really knows their shit, to make it be like to execute it faster, right?
Yeah.
And
You
not
need a
having
CPA. You need a lawyer and a good bank account.
and
You
that
know?
there's all of that, bro. Definitely CPA for sure. But yeah, but like nowadays, bro, like I mean, even recently, I would recommend to you, write what you want to do, right? And there's like Chat GPT, for instance, is a new AI program. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, this is the next level of shit at this point. People hate it. People want to talk shit about it. People are scared of it. Um, I'm trying to move with it. I'm trying to learn it. And it's worked on certain things and certain applications for me. I know for a fact that you can have it write proposals for you, and you can have it write a fucking nonprofit proposal for you. You just gotta say what you want to do. You got to break it down. Say, hey, I want to build a nonprofit for at-risk youth, in the middle of this area. These are the places I'm looking for. This is how much it costs. These are the costs. These are what I need. A full breakdown of what everything's gonna cost, from electricity to fucking paper to pens.
You're a
Um,
cack.
Literally break everything down, and it sucks because that takes a long time just to do that, right? But if you can literally go create me a nonprofit proposal for Phoenix, Arizona, or Tucson, Arizona, um, to whoever the nonprofit people that you need to send it to, and then paste what you wrote down. That sounds like a whole bunch of jumble, pretty much, of just shit that you wrote, cost and what you want to do. And press enter, bro. It's yo, dude. On the real, it's wild the way that it rewrites things. Like, you can tell it to rewrite. Like, for instance, when I first tried it, it's fucked up. But my daughter, I was telling her about it, and she said, "Yeah, I heard about it. Like, I heard about the AI thing that's like I heard it's cool." And I'm like, let's mess with it. Like, I haven't messed with it yet. I just like got accepted to the beta or whatever, and I was like, okay, like, what are you working on in school? She's like, oh, I'm doing a book report on like Matilda. It's a book by so and so, right? And I was like, what do you have to do? She's like, oh, I just have to write like a summary book report, right? So I type in like a small summary of the book Matilda by so and so, right? Writes a dope fucking small paragraph perfectly about the book that breaks down all the like bullet points pretty much. And I was like, yo, but if a fifth grader would turn that in, it just sounds way too professional. It sounds way too good. There's way too many big words. You know what I mean?
Like, for a college professional, it would probably be something they can get away with.
But and this is where it gets ugly. I rewrote it and I said, write me a summary in a fifth grade level of the book Matilda by so and so. And that shit was dumbed down by like 10 times. And it was sounded amazing. And it sounded like a fifth grader wrote it. 100%.
Damn.
And that's
How
what's
the fuck
fucked up.
did they get? That's what. How did they get that data? That's what's fucked
Well,
up.
because people are testing it right now, and so many people are just running prompts through it. It's just going crazy. Like, you could write a song. Like, you could be like, I want to write a love song about heartbreak and living in Phoenix or living in Tucson, and I met this girl, and then we broke up, and she was beautiful. Like, you could just literally just kind of like blurt out a whole bunch of shit and write it down, and then write it. And like you say, I want to write a song about these topics with the hook, a chorus, and a bridge. Go. And then if you don't like it, you just regenerate it, bro. And like, until you get something that you like. I like rewrote my bio on there. Like my DJ professional bio, my graphic design bio. And I got it to like where it's fucking perfect. And like even my resume, I rewrote my resume because my resume had like a ton of like shit. It was just too much stuff like for somebody to actually read. So I was like, simplify my resume. And here's my current resume, and I just press enter, and sure enough, boom, broke everything down, made everything sound way better. Simplified it so it's not so much to read. So yeah, like shit like that. It's crazy. You could write contracts. You could literally play a lawyer, send NDAs, like all kind of shit. You know what I mean? For people, it's wild.
That's a trip.
Yeah. And I mean, mainly what it's used for is customer service. Is like for chat. Like if you're like, hey, how much is a bottle at the club? And you can program it to be like, what bottle are you looking for? And I'm looking for a bottle of Ciroc. Our bottles of Ciroc are 150 or 200. You know what I mean? And all that information, it just gets learned by how many people start to hit, and then you respond. And once you respond, it saves those answers, and so you never have to answer it again, ever again.
It's analytical.
The fucking AI answers it for you from now on. You know what I mean?
That is a trip, bro.
Yeah. I'm not saying that we use that. I mean, we probably fucking should, but like, that's like where it's at. That's where it's headed. Like a lot of times, like AT&T and like anybody that you call right now, and they say, well, if you can't get a hold of us on the phone, go to our website and go click the chat button, right? That shit is fully fucking AI on all the big sites. You don't talk to a person anymore. It's literally like, what can I help you with? Okay, here's some things I found for you, can help you. You still need somebody to talk to? Cool. Well, what do you need? Okay, well, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Okay, you still need to talk to somebody? You know what I mean? Because like, it just keeps going and going until the fact where you're like, I need to fucking talk to somebody. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's wild. And like people are scared, man. People are really, like you said, like you could rewrite a college paper, or you could write a book report for high school. Like a lot of that shit can be done now, like in fucking 2 minutes, versus like you having to do it all night and spend all night doing it, And I think a lot of teachers and a lot of people are starting to get nervous, about the AI shit, which it makes sense, right?
Something new.
I mean, it's going to take a lot of jobs, bro. That's what sucks. But I mean, also too, we talked about that earlier, the pivot, right? You got to learn how to pivot. You got to learn some new shit. You always got to stay fresh. And that's why when I heard about it, I was like, yo, I got to get in. I got to get on the beta. Like, I want to learn this shit. I want to see what this is about. When I first heard people talking about it, so I wanted to test it. I wanted to play with it, and I've used it on certain things. You know what I mean? So it's dope.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah, it's evolution. So
yeah, go ahead. You got any more questions?
Yeah. What is your favorite animal?
Ooh. I don't know. That's a tough one, man. Mainly because like most animals aren't stupid, right? They still have some kind of thought process or some sort of empathy, that they feel for you. You can train a fucking snake not to bite. You can train a fucking bird not to fly away. You could train a bird how to fucking talk too. If they can't talk, you could teach them how to whistle a song, right? There's tons of things that make a lot of animals very, very fucking cool. And that's one of my favorite animals definitely is a dog, right? Because dogs are just like your best friend, right? Like you love it. Or your cat. Not a huge fan of cats, but I do like cats. My favorite animal probably would be an owl. When you look at an owl, there's something mystical about it and scary but calming at at the same time and beautiful. The eyes are crazy. Like those eyes are so huge and it's wild. Like an owl is like very majestic. To me, that's probably my favorite. Yeah,
Yeah,
and not like a
it's,
specific owl. Most it could be any owl. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's a trip. There's
I
some
would
big
love to
ass
get an
owls.
owl.
An owl.
Yeah, because you can
I
get
think you
small
can.
ones. You can get little guys. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
some of them are big. I don't know if you've seen Big Boy from Outcast. I think he has like 3 owls
Yeah.
on his property, and like he keeps them in the studio and shit, and they're like trained.
Oh
And he'll
shit.
like rock them on his arm, and he'll have them like on a perch, like in the studio, and it's fucking like you like what the fuck, like dude, it just because they just look crazy, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not I don't it's hard to explain, but it doesn't seem real, you know what I mean?
They're
So
majestic. Yeah, they're
yeah.
almost magical.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any resemblance or attributes that you find in an animal of yourself?
I don't know. Like, I mean, an owl, right? Like, I feel like I'm wise. Like, and people always say, like, "Oh, the wise owl." I'm nocturnal. I definitely, I work better at night. I, I'm more creative in the middle of the night in the demon hours. On demon time. But yeah, like I would say an owl. I guess again, people would say that I resemble a bulldog, a lazy fucking wrinkly ass bulldog. But an attitude, right? Because bulldogs fucking have attitudes too. I have a English bulldog personally, and like she definitely is a vibe. She has an attitude all the time. She has
Oh
her
yeah.
own, her own like personality, and it's fun, and it sometimes sucks too. So
We actually had an English bulldog mixed with a basset. She
oh
passed
wow,
away a couple of years ago. She was actually ran over by a car right when my wife was coming out. She was pregnant. We were heading out to a doctor's appointment. And
man.
the dog runs out and she just gets slaughtered right there, bro. But
Uh,
it was just a horrible experience. But she was like that, man. She was sassy. She had that sassiness of it.
yeah. I mean, I grew up with pit bulls. Like my whole childhood, like all my dogs are mainly pits. Until they all passed away, like by just old age. I mean, I think my oldest dog lasted to like 17 or 18, which is like almost unheard of. And they were always good, man. Like fucking best dog ever. Like never fighting anybody or fucking biting anybody. They were just chill as shit, just fucking strong, and people were scared of them. But I mean, it is what it is. But like, I mean, I even left those dogs to my mom when I moved out, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I could have a dog right now, and she would like love those dogs until the end. So
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, man.
that pit bulls too. They're resilient. They're fucking strong. They're scary. But they're also like lovers too.
Yeah. They definitely are, man. They're almost like a gentle giant.
For
I
real.
had a pit mix with Catahoula. He was blind, or not blind. He was deaf. So we had to talk to him with sign language. He had one eye that was blue and one was brown. It was a sick ass dog, man.
I have a friend that has a Shih Tzu that has no eyes, bro. They fell out. Like it's norm.
What?
It's a norm. It's a known thing to happen when a Shih Tzu gets older. Is their eyes will just fall out
What the fuck?
because like I don't know if it like recedes like their skin on their eyes and they just fall out.
What the fuck? So the
And
dogs
so they
just
have
eat
to,
them?
huh?
Do the dogs eat them, or
Oh, that's a
what
good
happened?
question. I think the one person that I know that has it, she said that one day she just came home. They were out. She took it to the vet, and they like cut them, off or whatever from the sockets, and now she just closes her eyes all the time, runs into the fucking wall, shit
Fuck.
like that. But she just you know gives it a snap, and she knows where to follow and where to come, and they can smell really well and shit like that. Certain things you can't do, obviously. I have a friend that's in Vancouver. He rescues his name is Andy Poon, and he rescues Frenchies. And I was like, yo, that's dope, you know? And he's like, well,
So,
my both of my Frenchies have a fucking wheelchair. And I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, they both have wheelchairs, or they'll just like if they don't have their wheelchair on, they'll just like kind of pull their back legs. They're paralyzed from like the
their
back,
hinds.
yeah, just the hinds, right? Um, and he like, yeah, he be telling me these fucked up stories because they can't shit and they
Damn.
can't piss, so like he has to squeeze it out of them.
My God, shit.
Yo, I shit you not, like for real, real talk. Like I'll be talking to him in the middle of the night, like we'll be online chopping it up. And we're like, "Yo, what the fuck is that noise?" And he, oh, my bad, I forgot to turn the mic off. I'm milking the dogs. You know what I mean?
Fuck, bro.
What? And at first we were like, "What are you talking about? Like milking the fucking dog? What, bro? You got to tell me what the fuck that means right now." You know what I mean?
You're up to some weird shit, man.
Yeah. And so yeah, like he's like, "Yo, man, I gotta like." So I take because he lives in like a high rise building too. So he takes like a garbage can with a bag in it and like holds them over it and like squeezes them and squeezes the shit out or squeezes the pee out until they're drained, and then cleans them up and then lets them fucking scoot around, right? Because they can't walk really. They just and then he just ties the bag up and takes it out, so, and he has to do it like 3 or 4 times a day, so it's fucking crazy, dude.
You gotta love to do that shit, bro. Because
and I mean, and they chose that. Like they were like, "Yo, I want to rescue these dogs," because they're like nobody wants them. So
yeah, they shouldn't be bred.
By all means, I commend them for that shit. You know what I mean? Like that takes a lot. So
yeah, man. I think there's certain species in snakes like that too, where we shouldn't be breeding them. Like they come out with no eyeballs, or they come out with a cleft lip, or they have some type of wobble. Like some of these defects they can live with, but there's some that you just can't. And it's like you're just putting them through that pain,
Yeah, I didn't really. I guess that's with anything, right? I didn't realize that snakes would have that too. Yeah, makes sense. That sucks. But I mean, also too, like they deserve to live too.
Yeah,
it's a life. So
yeah, you shouldn't be the one to take it away.
Hell yeah, it's not up to you.
For sure, bro.
If they go, then they go. But it is what it is.
Bro, since we decided what your favorite animal was, you said it was between the owl and the pit bull, right?
English bulldog.
English bulldog.
I think a little bit of everything, but yeah.
That reminds me of the food dog. I have a food dog tattoo. I have the male tatted, and when I die, I want to get the female tatted. So they'll tap me up when I'm the corp.
Yeah, I mean, I have both of my pit bulls on my thumbs. Like you can't really see, kind of can see them.
I can see the blurs.
Yeah, but they're like really small on my thumbs. Like I don't know if you can see. You kind of see
that? A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and then like another thing is like pigeons. Like I have like this really profound love for pigeons because they're grimy, they're dirty, everybody hates them, and my grandfather actually, when he moved to Phoenix from Missouri, he raised pigeons. Like he honed them, and would take them down to Mexico and like drop them off, and then they would fucking fly back and they would compare numbers. And they had like a whole, like kind of like a guys and girls like pigeon club, I think. And then they race them, right? And they breed them and they race them, and they put little tags on them so you know the number and when they come back, and then you time it, and then everybody compares like their times and where they dropped them off and shit. And whoever had the fastest pigeon, everybody put in money to like a poll, and they would win some money. So he did that because he didn't have any friends when he moved out here, and that was like a thing that he could meet new people and hang out with people and do something cool that he's never done. And before he passed away, he was starting to get like dementia, and like he had like 3 or 4 different types of cancer. And I was rocking a Staple hat. Like I don't know if you've ever heard of Staple. It's just like a fucking street brand, but their main logo is a pigeon, and I would always rock it whenever I would go over there. And even if he's told me the story like a week ago, he would tell me the story again. And so like that was like our bonding before he passed away. So I got I can't really see it, but I got a pigeon on my arm to like remember him and like the story
Oh
by.
shit.
So like that's another thing that's like real near and dear to my heart. That's an animal technically too.
Yeah. Well, before we ask the main question, brother, I wanted to know what was the catalyst or what made you a DJ? At what point do you think was that defining moment where this was the reason why I became a DJ?
That's a good question too. Hmm. I mean, I've opened and I've played like a lot of big shows, right? And a lot of parties. I'm trying to think because, like, I mean, obviously, like when you're younger and you played like your first big party, that was like, oh shit, it was like a rush, right? But I think multiple times of playing. Yeah, because I mean, even when I was younger, when I was first learning, I was at like a show. The reason why I started DJing was because I heard a Z Trip tape, right? And I became friends with Z Trip, and he didn't even know I DJ'd
Oh shit.
because I was just too scared to tell him that I DJ'd, right? And I started promoting and doing a whole bunch of shit for labels, and I was working for this clothing company at the time in like 99, 98. We went out to San Diego's ASR show. Um, and it's like the summer clothing line. It's like summer clothes and like bathing suits and shit. All the big brands like Ocean Pacific, Body Glove, like all at the time was like all the popular brands, right? Were there to show, and we were there for the company I was working for, which was Lucky Brand and Triple X Dungarees, which that's where I was working for. But he was there. I want to say Commonwealth was the company that he was there for. They hired him um, to just DJ the booth for the whole week, and I remember I was like, oh, I gotta go check out Zach. I gotta go see what's up with him, and I went to the booth and I had my video camera and like, yo, what up? Just fucking with him and shit. And like, yo, where you from? Where you from? And I still had the footage of him just like acting a fool and like talking shit. And like, it's crazy because he looks so fucking young. But a lot of people were coming to the booth and he's like, yo, you DJ, right? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I try, I do my thing, hey, whatever, And like, I didn't really want to say shit. And he was like, bro, I've been standing here for like 6 hours. I gotta piss. And I don't even know where the fucking bathroom's at. He's like, can you just take over for me for like 5 songs, 10 songs, right? And I'm like, man, like, I don't know about, I don't know, like, these are my records and, what I mean? Like, that type of shit. And like, and he's like, man, just fucking do it. I gotta take a piss, bro. And so I was like fucking sweating, bro. Like, put the headphones on. I'm just like, like freaking out. I start going through all of his records, and like, I don't know these records. Like, I don't know what he has and what he doesn't have, and so I'm just like, fuck. Like, can I mix this together? Can I mix that together? I start thinking about songs that I want to find or that can work. And he just takes off, dude. And like, you can see like the people that rented the booth are like, what the fuck is this fool doing? And like, why did he leave? Like, who's this dude? And so I started off real rough and he wasn't even there for it. And then eventually he came back, like, maybe 15 minutes. I was already like 4 or 5 songs in, right? And I was like trying to let everything play out to the very end, like, because I was just like, I didn't want to fuck up, you know what I mean? Because it was his gig too, so like I didn't want to fuck anything up for him. So he comes back and I'm like finally getting my footing, you know what I mean? And I'm like kind of rocking it and like mixing songs a little bit better and like kind of cutting and shit and like so he just like, yo, keep doing your thing, bro. And I'm like, yo, like what do you mean? And like a couple other like b-boys showed up and people started showing up and like it was like a crowd of people while I was fucking playing. And he was like, yo, you killing it, bro. You killing it, you know, like dope, you know? And I'm like, yo, yeah, this is it. And it was probably like 10 people, right? You know? But they were feeling it and they were liking what I was doing. And I knew what I was doing, but I was too nervous to like be good, by all means. But it definitely after that I had a lot more confidence, you know what I mean? And then him saying like, yo, keep doing your shit, you know what I mean? And like, yo, you're good. Like, don't trip. Don't fucking think twice about it. Don't be so scared. Don't be so nervous. Like, get out there and do it. It was definitely a plus. I mean, sure, opening up for like humongous artists like 2 Chainz and fucking, you know, 2,000-3,000 people. That was scary. That's you don't want to fuck up. And like during the last Super Bowl, I opened up for like Fabulous and like Shaq. I opened up for Questlove, like stuff like that that are like idols of mine. You know, growing up, like Questlove, you know, from the Roots. Like it was just phenomenal. It was just the craziest feeling. Like, yo, Questlove is in the same booth as me. He's like behind me right now. And like if I fuck up, and you know what I mean, you're just scared. You know.
Yeah, but that's what makes you bigger, bro.
I opened up for Just Blaze. A lot of EDM artists that were like really big shows. Like Four Color Zach. A lot of really good DJs that I look up to, bro. That I'm like, yo, these are fucking top notch A+ DJs that nobody can fuck with. Opening up for those type of dudes, like it just makes you humble. It makes you feel good. But like, I think maybe if it was like an organic, like origin story, it would be that Z Trip story for sure.
That's crazy, bro. Well, that was what made Meanmugg, and that's when you got your name, or when did you get your name, bro?
Shit. Well, so when I was younger, before I started doing graffiti or anything else, and I kind of like first got some turntables and started playing around in the room with DJing. I was DJ Biggie, and in the neighborhood, I was Biggie Fry, right? Like windy shit. And then I think 2 years goes by, and Notorious Big came out, and they're like, "Oh, this is Biggie, like Big Papa." So I started like, kind of like, "Oh yeah, Big Papa." You know, you can call me Big Papa too. You know, shit like that. And so my homies stopped calling me Biggie Fry. They would just start calling me Biggie because they heard it. People calling Biggie, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I want to write Biggie as a graffiti artist, but I don't want to write the 2 G's. I want to do something different. So I just started writing Bigie. And then I started, my DJ name is DJ Bigie Biggie. And everybody that knew me from those days all knew me as Biggie, right? Yo, Biggie, it's crazy, you know? And like, around 2001, we started a record label with a whole bunch of my homies that were a fun crowd. Like we were like all deep boys at the time. We did a lot of fucked up shit. It was during the time of like No Limit and Cash Money when they first popped, and there was a lot of money involved. There was a lot of drugs involved.
Fun times.
But they were always like, yo, you always mean, bro. Why you always fucking look like that? Like your face just looks mean all the time. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know? And like you just always had like that resting bitch face. Like you just mad. And I was like that's just how I fucking look, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like you just always got a mean mug, bro. Like why you always mean mugging everybody? Like you can't be in a club with a whole bunch of girls just mean mugging everybody. And I'm like, bro, I'm not fucking doing it on purpose. This is who I am. You know what I mean? And like, and so they're like, yo, you should do something with that. Like, that's just you. Like that, when you hear Meanmugg, like it's you. And I'm like, maybe I'll start a clothing line or something called Meanmugg, you know? And then I think I want to say like 2000s, a little bit after, I was still working like Exhibit album, like the album like 40 Days, 40 Nights for Priority. And I think on that album or the album after, he came out with a song called Meanmugg, and Ludacris said "quit mean mugging" like in one of his songs. So people would say it, and then I was like, maybe I should start a clothing line with it. And then so I started calling myself like Biggie Mean Mug, right? Um, and then I think 2004, 2005, like I DJ'd as a DJ Biggie all the way up until like 2005, 2006. Um, and then fucking Pauly D came out on fucking Jersey Shore, and that shit got huge. Everybody's talking about Jersey Shore, Jersey Shore. I'm like, this is fucking lame. Oh, Pauly D's a fucking DJ. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, this is funny, right? So like season 2 comes out, and then boom, he's like, yo, I DJ. And I'm like, this is lame, right? And then he was like, the reason why I started DJing is because my cousin DJ Biggie. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And he's like from New Jersey or whatever, right? And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And like, I'm already like been on tons of flyers, been DJing for a long time. And like, so people like, it was so popular, like Jersey Shore was so popular at the time. They were like, yo, oh, what's up, Pauly D's cousin or whatever? Oh, I didn't know you thought Pauly D had a DJ. Like, they would just talk shit, you know what I mean? And they would be like, oh, like you're Pauly D's fucking cousin, you know what I mean? And I like, fuck that fool, you know what I mean? And so it got to the point where I was just like, yo, this dude is on fucking TV, on MTV. He's calling himself DJ Biggie. Plus, fuck it. Like, I'm still going to be Biggie to a lot of people, but I should rebrand myself and just use Meanmugg. And so I started using Meanmugg like around that time and just transitioned everything because plus it sounded like more original. And it sounded, because I mean, everybody always said like, well, how come you're Biggie? I mean, shit, just even recently, bro, speaking of Tucson, right? Even recently, I was at Trill in Phoenix. It's a big hip hop shop. My boy owns it, Chuck, and one of my best friends works there like every day. His name is Ali. They just came out with a toy for MERS, right? And they did this box for DesignerCon for MERS and his album, a whole bunch of his albums, right? And he put out a song or something for the box, and it was like a T-shirt in a box. And I was there when he was introducing it. MERS was on live in LA, and well, if you didn't know, MERS has family in Tucson, so he's always in Tucson. So that's why I said speaking of Tucson. But as I never met MERS, like maybe I've been in the same room with them, but I never met him. And my boy was like pulling the shirt out, and he's like, "Yo, Biggie, yo, hold this fucking shirt up." And I hear MERS go like, "What do you mean, Biggie? What the fuck?" You know what I mean? Like, he got real weird about it, right? And was like, "Yo, why do you guys call him Biggie?" You know, like that type of shit. And then my boy was like, "Yo, he's been Biggie since day one, bro. Like for real. Like even before Biggie, like he didn't even know about Biggie when he was calling. They were calling him Biggie Fry. You know what I mean?" And then MERS is like, okay, that's kind of weird, bro." And I'm like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I didn't want to sound like unoriginal. You know what I mean? So when I became Meanmugg, like I could just, but like my homies still call me Biggie, right? Yeah. And I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say or about what, but like that's why I did it, just so I can just dead all that shit. Like nobody can say shit. Like this is my fucking name, copyrighted, trademark, website, everything. You know what I mean? Like I own everything. So that's what it is.
That's a trip, bro. That's a sick ass story. You know?
Yeah, not a lot of people know that shit. You know what I mean? And it's funny because even my daughter, like I had to explain to her all the time. She's like we go somewhere and she's like, "Yo, we go to Fry's, we go to fucking the grocery store, and you always know somebody. Everybody comes up to you and they know you. Like how do you know so many people?" And I'm like, "Yo, like it's just from being in the city for so long and like just being in different crowds, and I just know a lot of people, right? And not to like big up myself, but like it is what it is. And my daughter fucking hates it, bro. Like it's annoying to her, right? Um, but I always tell her how you can gauge somebody that knows me for real versus somebody that just knows me off the internet. Um, and so if they call me Biggie, they know me from back in the day. They've known me for more than 10 years, right? If they call me Meanmugg, they've only known me for the last like 15, 10 years, right? If they call me by my real government name, they've known me for a long fucking time, like a long time. So that's how you gauge it. Like at least that's how I gauge it, right? Um, so I mean, I did actually start using my real name, just for business and professional purposes, a lot more. But I kind of just, in a way, took it away again. I'm not anonymous by all means, but like, I don't know. I just you have to brand one name, So
Yeah, that's for true. That's for sure. Bro, that this convo has been fucking insane, man. Your stories, your anecdotes, the stuff that you share. You can tell and you can see the development. A lot of grime. You've been through hell. It seems you've made it out. You came out through a story. Who would you think that your spirit animal is?
Mm. Wait, so you asked me what my favorite animal or what I would compare myself animal, right? And this one
Yeah.
is my spirit animal.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, that would definitely be the owl.
The owl.
Like, yeah.
You carry the
I feel like,
essence of the owl.
yeah, I feel like, I'm mysterious. I'm mystical, you know what I mean? Like all that shit, calm and collect a lot of the time, I tend to think more than I act. And I think that's like one of my better traits, I try to think way more before I speak. Shit like that, you know what I mean? Just wise.
Definitely. Well, it takes a lot to become wise. That's for sure.
I'm fucking old, bro. That's what that means. You just fucking got gray hairs and shit. That's old, bro.
How old are you, bro?
I'm 41.
Oh shit, you're not that old, man.
I'll be 42 in May, so it's fucking old.
You've lived double my life, man.
Really? How old are you?
I'm 26, man. 26.
Really?
4 days ago, on the 16th, I turned 26.
Nice. Oh, of March?
Of February, I turned 26.
Oh, you just turned 26. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, shit. Happy birthday. I know it's a little late, but
Appreciate you, man. Brother, I have 3 last hot seat questions. These are just designed for you. Yes, no, or maybe a genre. Your favorite music genre?
Everything.
Everything. So that's a specific genre?
No, never. No. I'll tell you what I don't like. I'm not a fan of country, but I do like older country and I do like folk music, stuff like that.
Oh, my camera just went off. Hold up, brother.
Oh, technical difficulties. Right when you're trying to wrap it up.
Yep. We're going to go down to the FaceTime camera.
Yee. And we're back.
Alrighty, brother. And so you said it was just everything other than country, right?
I mean, I still kind of like country to a certain extent, but it's far and none. You know what I mean? So.
And your preferred psychedelic?
Mushrooms.
Why?
Because I love them.
Because you love them.
Well, I mean, okay. So if I think growing up, it was like cool, right? And it wasn't until like literally during the pandemic, I talked to a lot of artists and a lot of friends that were dealing with a lot of depression and a lot of health issues, just different shit, right? Anxiety, stuff like that. And I have a good friend. His name is Lurk, aka Russ. He is a famous artist, right? From Vancouver. He lives in like a fucking hut in on Vancouver Island. He lives like a hobbit. It's amazing. And all of
Sick.
his art is real psychedelic. He's been on the cover of like Heavy Metal magazine. He's a pretty famous dude. But I had a chance to like really dig in and watch him work a bunch of times on live, like over the internet, and like ask questions and just fucking shoot the shit, you know. But he was telling me about how much microdosing helped him with a lot of anxiety. He had some stomach problems. It actually helped his stomach problems as well. And how he does it, he kind of broke it down to me. And then I have another friend that is friends with him. I met through a group of people, another artist named Brian Morris. He's from Chicago. Another amazing fucking psychedelic artist, bro. Like amazing. Like these dudes are like fucking OGs, right? But same thing. He was making before the pandemic. He was making almost like $250,000 a year working for a marketing company. He was like the head of marketing, like creative director for a big firm, and just lost his shit. He was just tired of everything. He didn't want to work anymore, and he was fucking just burnt. And it wasn't until he started microdosing and he started feeling better about life, man. And he broke it down to me, like there was a lot of health issues he was having, because of the depression, because of the anxiety, because of just being burnt out from doing art and doing fucking the same thing every fucking day, like that we normally do, as regular human beings, right? And the stress of family or whatever. And he was like, "Yo, I microdose, 2-3 times a week." And then I started fucking microdosing. And so I don't do it unless I'm like really depressed, or if I'm really feeling some type of way. I'll take a tablet, grind it up, whatever, and then sometimes I'll just eat a cap or a stem, right? In the morning. Sometimes I'll put it in my fucking coffee, right? Like it just depends. But I keep it very minimum, right? A lot of people are like, "Yo, I fucking eat a whole eighth, I'll eat a whole quarter of fucking shrooms." You know what I mean? I'm not trying to trip the fuck out and feel some type of way. I already have enough anxiety, and if you have a bad trip, just like on acid or anything else, I don't want to feel like that. That's why I don't do edibles as well. Like that shit fucking my anxiety goes through the roof when I take edibles.
Yeah.
So I've tried it a million times and I've never had a good fucking, vibe off of it. So whenever I microdose, it just feels amazing, man. It feels like my day is brighter. I see more visually. I it's a different vibe. Like if I go outside, I feel the air. I taste the air. I fucking, I can feel it on my skin. You know what I mean? So, like that type of shit. Like, I don't know. Something about it is just, it makes you happy, right? It makes you feel good. It takes all that anxiety and kind of like squashes it down for the day. And it lasts, for most of the part all day. And unfortunately, you can't do it every day because your tolerance will just get all weird and shit.
Mhm.
But like if I'm on it, then I'll do it once or twice a week. Sometimes 3 times a week. Skip a day. But that definitely is my my psychedelic that I love the most for sure.
It's awesome, brother. Check out that previous episode we had with Anthony. You probably enjoy it. He works with a company called Mind Shrooms.
I think I caught like some of it. Is
You
it
did?
with the long hair and the ponytail?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think I caught the beginning of it, but I didn't finish it. I'll check it
Yeah.
out for sure.
Yeah. Cool dude, man. Cool dude. Brother, R&B or rock, if you had to choose from between the both.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I grew up on rock, like butt rock and like old rock, and I definitely have a love for rock. and new rock. I mean, I fucking still to this day I listen to tons of not like heavy metal. I've never really been a huge fan of heavy metal. I like some, but R&B, man, is sexy, bro. Something about R&B is always going to be
Slow jams.
yeah, and I mean, like even earlier when we were talking about genres and music and stuff, and like what I listen to on a normal basis is literally oldies and it's R&B. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's oldies, right? And but it's love making music and not even love making music, right? It's just heartache and pain and feel good at the same time too. There's tons of feel good R&B as well.
And it's different, brother. It's not just all that pillow talk that you get now on these days, but before it was
yeah,
like a melody.
straight up, yeah. So yeah, I would say R&B for sure. Like that's my jam.
Yeah, definitely, brother. Well, it was a great episode, brother. That's the last of our questions. Do you have anything for me? Any questions you'd like to ask?
Yo, I'm just saying, I gotta make it to Tucson soon. We gotta hang out. We gotta have lunch because one thing I love about Tucson is the food.
For sure, brother.
There's tons of bomb ass food places in Tucson, which is my shit. So yeah, we definitely gotta meet up. We definitely gotta hang out.
For sure, brother.
And shit, yeah. Let me know if you need anything from me. I'm always down to help. So
Absolutely, man. It's appreciated. Thank you for hopping on. Hopefully we can get you on for a next episode here soon within the next year or so.
Word. Yeah, I'm always down too, for sure. Let me know.
All right, brother. Let me finish this episode. I'll check right back in. We don't leave the room. I'll be right back.
All right, cool. Sounds good.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was one of our episodes with Spirit Animal Podcast. Meanmugg, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast and a guest. It's always appreciated for our guest. Everybody who did check in, Hooligan Farming, Both of Balls, thank you guys as well. Anybody who did stay tuned throughout the show, we appreciate you guys checking in. Everybody have a wonderful night. The real George of the Jungle.